I'd love to basically get
Yeah,
this
because it's
on
going
the.
right now.
I would love to be able to see the range on those buds that you have on and see how far can you go
You
before we
mean
lose you.
my Vivo buds that I've been using for this entire run of our podcast?
Viva la Viva, sorry, Viva la Viva Vivo? Wait, does that make sense? Yeah, actually that does. Viva la, no,
Yeah,
Viva la
that
Vida Vivo, Vivo, not Viva.
Viva.
I'm like,
Oh,
Viva,
Vida. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's probably
Viva la
right.
Vida Vivo. I was gonna Viva la Vida Loca, but then, we'll get,
Then it
counter
got
sued for a
weird
whole bunch. Yeah, that kind for like really weird, Ricky Martin's calling. Um, so yeah,
because
no,
I feel like you've got something fun to play with, and literally just about 45 minutes before we jumped in, I haven't even had a chance to really tear into it. A big
okay,
red
yeah, yeah.
box was dropped off on my doorstep too.
I
I
was
could try and
like,
go get it.
you could, I wouldn't, you know what? Let's just try this. Let's see how far those buds will go. You're connected directly to the PC. I'm assuming, oh, obviously, yeah, you're connected to
Yeah.
the PC. So we'll keep talking. And as the moment
Yeah,
Juan
we'll see.
ends, we'll all start chit
So
chatting and saying bad
what
things about him.
what will probably work is the mic. I'm not so sure about the earbuds because the
Oh,
Bluetooth
yeah.
on Windows always kind of sucks, right?
No, no, absolutely. So you may
So,
not hear us,
all
but
right,
we'll hear you. So keep
that's
talking,
right.
walking,
Well, that's
you
kind
know,
of the best way if you think about it. I mean, I
walking and
talk
talking.
so much,
I've been meaning to talk to you about that talking. You do talk too
all the
much.
talking
You're
and stuff.
and you do all so much talking in your videos. Like, who does that? You know what I
So
mean? Like
I literally made it about 3 steps outside
the door, and
my
you stopped,
office,
and you
and the
couldn't hear me.
earbuds already started
Can you
wigging
hear me
out.
still though? Are we still with you? No,
I can
maybe.
kind of catch like every half a syllable that you're saying right now.
Okay, well, with that being said, I will say welcome back to another episode of the best of our week, where we test out Bluetooth headsets and the short range they have on Windows.
No,
Because
yeah, because I'm finally back in. These Vivos will go my whole house when they're connected to a phone.
oh yeah, no, no, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Connected
Yeah.
to my desktop,
Oh, dude, that was quick. Welcome back.
we get like, what is that? That's about 15 feet, and then you're SOL.
Yeah, no, no. Well, that's the lack of performance on what we get with the Vivo, not the Vivo, with the PC. So you got the same amazing special edition red box with a lot
The
of cool.
red box edition.
I'll say this: I am using, and Sony loves this mug,
Ooh.
the TCL
I mean,
Camelback.
that's a spoiler for me. I genuinely don't even know what's in this
Oh,
box. Like, I
well,
haven't
you
had a
may not
chance
have
to
the
crack
same
it
thing.
open yet.
I'll take that. I'll take that back. You may or may not have the same stuff. I'm hoping they made some really cool, JC kind of cool things.
Mm-hmm.
But I miss this type of experiences. I really miss, that whole, the box unboxing package and getting a whole bunch of different things kind of going on,
Yeah, it's
especially
fun.
with a new venture for TCL. I mean, really, I think TCL
Yeah.
jumping into the stylo, or well, not stylo, stylus. They're
No,
not calling it.
it makes perfect sense.
It,
No, I'm
it is the
serious. Like,
stylo. Yeah, yeah. It taking over the LG.
so
Where LG left
I
off.
mean, it was kind of a big deal. I wasn't really going to make a huge run on this week's episode because I still want to just play with it, but I finally got the Moto
I'm so
Stylus
jealous, man. I
folio
saw
case.
that. I saw your post, and I was like, because
It's
I
so
was doing the same
good.
thing, right? I was gonna buy the case,
Yeah.
but the phone isn't mine to keep. I had to return it already, so I'm like, okay, I figured I'll live
I
vicariously
think I
through,
need to give it back to Moto, but they haven't asked for it yet.
I would play the. I
So,
didn't hear back from you, therefore I thought everything is cool. No, no, I
as
know.
it's so good.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Moto Edge has been rocking my socks as like an LG V60 Galaxy S21 Ultra
Hmm.
replacement
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
productivity phone. And when we look at what Moto's been doing over the last year, they soaked up a huge chunk of LG's market share
Hmm.
from the K series and the Stylo.
Yeah.
So they have an inexpensive Moto stylus solution. It
Hmm.
makes perfect sense for TCL to take a look at that and say, hey, we can offer an inexpensive, productivity focused handset that's going to go
Absolutely.
toe to toe with what Moto's doing in that space. And I still feel like TCL's, yeah, see, I mean, that looks good. It's clean, it's professional, it doesn't look like a kid's phone, it looks like
I
a phone for
I love
grown-ups.
the magnetic. There's a magnetic. I don't know. It's hard to show this thing. Hold on. Let me see if I can do it. No, of course. Oh, here. Yeah, nope. No.
Wait,
So
you just got to block your eyes. You almost had
yeah,
it. There
right
you
there.
go.
So here, and see, there's that little
Ooh,
magnetic.
little snick.
Yeah, it's like whoop.
Yeah, the stylus
It
slides
is,
in kind of like Wolverine's
and
claws.
absolutely, and it's stuck. It doesn't fall. Like it's magnetically. I
Nice.
mean, even if you don't pin it all the way, it's stuck in
Probably
there.
not as stuck as the Note 5 if you tried to put the stylus in backwards.
Let me
If you
see.
remember when Leo, don't do it. Don't do it,
Oh,
TK.
it does go in though. Oh, they
Well,
didn't.
yeah, I mean it's gonna fit because it fits that
Well,
hole.
not
But
only that, it does the same
don't put it all the
suction.
way in. Don't.
Look, look, look. And it says the
Well,
same thing.
this we don't have Aditya in the chat. I don't see. So
Hey,
any
JC,
terrible
sorry,
jokes
JC. Josh is
at,
in the chat all the way
at
from the
our
Philippines.
expense.
Hey,
Hey,
¿cómo
what's
está
up,
acá,
Vergara?
Joshua? Kicking it with us, man. Yeah, he's ride or die, man, all the way
So
from the Philippines.
I want to put this out here, and OnePlus back in the day, and even now, I mean, they still put together a great reviewers kit.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. One of the better.
No, but I mean, it's so much fun. You've got these fans of your brand from OnePlus, Motorola, TCL. I really wish they would make the reviewer kit a purchasable limited edition
Yes.
combo pack. I
Let
mean,
people
imagine
be able
if
to
you've
get in
gotten
on
your
the
Moto
action.
Edge in a nice box. I mean, Lenovo supplied that really nice backpack. It's a really nice
Yes.
backpack. Put it all together. Put the folio case in there. I'm
I
not
got to
saying
keep the
sell it.
backpack. I didn't have to return the backpack. They took the
Yeah,
phone, but they let me keep
same.
the
I was like,
backpack. Yeah,
what's going back here?
yeah.
They didn't want the earbuds back, so I was like,
I'm
cool,
happy with
that's
that.
great.
Those are really good buds. But yeah,
It makes me really glad to know you're not taking earbuds back and passing them on
I
to
would be like,
other
the next
reviewers.
guy's like, wait, hold on a second. Did
Ooh.
you even clean these? Or-
Boy, these things are a bit humid. So I really feel it because right now it's branding, it's marketing, it's building up your own grassroots fan base. I feel like this is a critical omission from all of these other brands. It's not just did you get like, free earbuds. Like Samsung does a great job of throwing in an accessory if you buy during a pre-order. Sony,
Aditya
you can
feels the
always
disturbance in the force.
he made
You
it.
mention his
Um,
name. He's like, what?
Sony, you can always count on some
Yeah, Aditya.
earbuds or some
Yeah.
headphones to pair with your Xperia. But I mean,
Mhm.
like limited edition. We're gonna make 500 of these. Nice box, great presentation, great unpacking. All of the accessories fully kitted out, fully ready to go. Multiple case options. I mean, make it the enthusiast package.
Yeah.
And I really feel like you'd blow some people's minds. It's just so nice and I'm saying this with like the full realization and all of the privilege that we have as reviewers. There's definitely something special about a company putting a little effort and a little pride into their presentation, and that helps. I mean, that probably gives me a slightly different perspective on what OnePlus is doing than someone who just goes to OnePlus.com and buys a phone.
Yeah. No,
I can
I'm with you.
tell that they're still trying, even under some some challenging distribution situations. So again, I'm about to crack into this TCL, and I know this is a phone that's kind of purpose built to compete against a stylo. That
Oh,
doesn't mean
absolutely.
it shouldn't feel special to the person who wants a good business phone or a good productivity, a good work phone. And
Yeah.
especially at the
No.
price point that they're going to launch this thing at, it's just insane.
It's crazy. Like $258 or like $260.
Let's
It's great. Let's go
let's
ahead
see
and
what's
do you
in
have your
mine.
top down on?
I don't. I had to
Ah.
shoot a whole bunch of stuff today, and so that camera is like way over there. And then maybe I was finishing up some of my photo samples for part 3 of my Vivo comparison.
Part
And
trace.
you know,
I like it.
that's
I like. Well,
that's
it's
tough.
okay. Let's do that. I'll let you lead with maybe taking things and showing it to us on
Ooh,
camera.
it's a
So you get
notepad to go with my
yeah, that's
stylus-enabled
nice.
notebook. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I like
You know
that.
what's
Yeah.
great is I actually kind of my camera's like focusing on the box.
Yeah.
I actually kind of live my life out of these. I had a stock of Pepcom
Mm-hmm.
notepads. So this is from when is this? 2017.
Back in
This
the
is the
old days.
2017
Back when we used to
Pepcom.
have to walk to Pepcom. No,
I
just kidding.
think
Yeah.
I think I got this one in Barcelona.
Nice.
So I'm almost out of pages on this. This is the list of Steam codes that I have in my Humble bundle right now that I need to give away. So
Oh,
I'm going to
good.
start like just filtering these out. I'm not entirely sure where, if that's going to be Patreon or Twitter. So this is
Mm-hmm.
almost cached. Now I've got a nice new TCL notepad. That's pretty cool.
If you
I
if you
like
turn it around
that.
to the other side, you'll see a nice little instruction manual.
Instruction. Oh, I mean, it's got the reviewer guide in here too,
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
it?
The last few
Yeah,
pages
yeah, yeah.
are where the specs are. So it's a nice little cheat sheet. I love that.
Oh, see, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it's so silly and it's so small. I did not have the half hour that I took to do this,
Hmm.
but I was putting together this video. I was writing another article on smartphone camera performance, and I just got so tired of doing all the math in my head.
Yeah.
So I put together a little Excel spreadsheet that if you know the resolution of the sensor and you know the pixel size, it will calculate everything else. Sensor surface area,
Oh,
what
nice.
type sensor it is,
Hmm.
if it's a 1/1.3, if it's a half-inch sensor, etc. Calculate the diagonal of the image sensor. And so I just put that up on the Patreon. It's it's not pretty. It's just an Excel page, and you
Yeah.
put in three numbers and it spits out a whole bunch of other data. So now, I mean, like whenever we get something like this that just helps us kind of collect all of our numbers, it's
Yeah,
always nice.
especially when you're trying to compare, you're trying to keep in mind. Yes, and the box is very right there, centered. TCL Stylus 5G. I love it. I love it. It looks nice. I like the
5G.
material. It's
Have you
really good.
have you thrown a SIM card into yours yet?
No, no, I did not because I'm in the middle of finishing my Mate, not Mate.
Right,
I
right,
don't know
right,
why I
right,
say that.
right. Okay,
The Honor
okay,
40
okay.
Pro, the Magic 40 Pro. So I had my SIM there, but I know it's obviously it's a TCL, sorry, T-Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile, and I do have SIM cards through them.
Yeah.
So this weekend for sure. I literally got the box maybe a couple of hours before you. Must have been the same driver or something like that.
Oh,
It's
okay. I
yeah.
didn't
So
know if people
I'm
got
not that.
theirs like yesterday or something, because I know like I had to be reminded that the official embargo was today. I'm glad I
It
didn't
was
say anything because
no, no, no,
it
yeah,
would have
yeah. No,
been real embarrassing.
I thought it was going to be coming in tomorrow, and then I got a notification saying, "Oh yeah, we can deliver it a little earlier." So I'm like, "Hey, shut up! I'm not going
Okay,
to say
so
no."
got the
So for
box.
sure, and
This
then
is full of that nice ecologically friendly paper crinkle cut packaging that's going to scatter all
yes,
over my office.
paper
But this is
mache
a
galore,
really
heaven.
snazzy bag. I like this a
It's a
lot.
sling. It's a sling. It's
The
a single wrap on the
Herschel.
other side. Yeah,
The
and
Herschel Supply Company,
you got to
the
open it up.
finest quality. So
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
spared no expense. They could
Nope.
not have gone down lower in quality because it's the finest.
No, no, no.
I don't know if you realize
T-
that. That's a superlative.
it is. It's the finest. they, they've reached that level. There's no way to go beyond that or below that or go anywhere.
So
But there is
yes,
some
this
cool
this
things
is a nice
inside as well.
bag. This
Yes,
is
my
great.
wife likes it actually quite a
All
bit.
right, let's see
She
if there's
took it.
anything in the top pocket.
Vanya already
I might be
confiscated it.
doing this all. I see. I don't do unboxings. I was trying to explain like in something else, like, oh, I'm just so excited. Like
I
I'm not good at doing that. So
So I
I
spent
like
a
that a
good hour and
lot.
15 minutes trying to condense a whole bunch of footage from everything I got to try to make a reel out of it. And
Yeah.
then as soon as I posted my reel, I got a notification from
Ooh.
Instagram telling me that reels are now a minute and a half. They're no longer 60 seconds. They're
Well, there you
pushing
go.
beyond. Yeah, welcome TikTok. I mean, welcome reels on Instagram. Uh,
I'm still like,
I'll
I,
say,
I know like the folks at Vivo are actually probably a little frustrated with me because I don't do shorts videos. I mean,
you
like
don't wear shorts?
if I if
It's
I
a good
do
thing in the summer, I
one
heard.
like every 6 weeks, it's kind of like a big deal. And
It's
so they've been
it's
saying like, "Hey, are you going to do social media posts for these videos?" And you're like, "I always do, but what I want to show off is like photos. Like this is a photography camera. I don't want to do like,
oh yeah.
30 seconds of me holding this phone across, like in a portrait." And you're like, that's not
That's
the
my
thing.
department, my friend. I'm the one who holds the phone and moves the hand.
All
No,
right. So what
I'm
do we
with you. I'm
think
with you.
this is? This
I
this
want to say it's
looks
a wallet. I'm thinking it's
intense.
a leather strap, like an old school style wallet, like a money bag or something to that effect. That's the only thing
I
I can
mean,
think of. Because, right? No, maybe it's too big
yeah, I
for
don't,
anything else. But what do you put in it? I didn't know.
and it
And it,
doesn't look like it would fit the phone.
yeah.
So I don't think it's like some fancy phone holster, which would be really annoying to get your phone in and out of this.
Hold on. You want me to
But it's
sign what?
it's really fancy.
It's genuine leather, man.
Okay.
Genuine. Yeah, yeah.
It
And and
genuinely
Josh,
fancy.
yeah, they started them today. That's what bugged me. After I
Ooh.
posted mine, oh, you saw the dark roast right there. Yeah,
Oh, that's real
all
nice.
nighter. That is nice. Yes, I love
Cat and
coffee,
Cloud, Night Shift
dude.
Dark Roast.
The last time when we were together at
Ooh,
the
that's
LG
good.
event, remember that one is stuck close to Santa
Mm-hmm.
Monica? They gave us the coffee. It's like I love
Yeah.
coffee. Like coffee, please. Anytime you want to gift me anything, coffee beans, yes. Just go straight and
It's
just
such a trip remembering that. Like I was pulling up clips because again, I was trying to go back and like, yeah, I thought this and this and this and like, yeah, that was when we had the V60.
yeah.
And I pull up those clips and there's you're shooting like with your you have the Z Flip.
I had the Z. Yeah, I
Rich
bought the. Yeah.
DeMuro was in the
Rich
front
was
bar
there.
area as I was doing a
Oh no, so
panning shot.
Rich and his guy at one point also kind of moved next to me. So yeah,
Yeah.
for a while we were all like next to each other. Yeah.
So but I'm going back and
Josh was
like,
there too. I forgot about that. Yeah.
holy cow, that is only a 2 years younger Juan, and I swear I look like I'm 10 years younger,
You were
like
so
than what
much
I
better
look like
looking back
today.
then. I did want to tell you that. And
Right?
you've kind of let it
It's
go
like
now. It's
not
like
even close.
downhill.
How does my
Yeah.
wife stay with me? This is ridiculous.
I don't know. I've been yeah,
Hey, I got
it's
the
been
same
one of
camera
the
back.
hey, yes. It's actually really good.
Hey.
So I've been using the one they sent us with the tablet. Did you get the tablet last year?
I didn't get to review the tablet.
Okay, so
I was in the middle of so many different projects. I actually reached out to their PR team and said, like, if you send one to me, it's going to sit on a shelf for like 2 months, and I would hate to tie up a
I
review
know.
unit. If
And it's
someone else is gonna be able to talk about this, send it to someone else. And they didn't seem to take that as an insult. Like they seemed appreciative that I wasn't
I
just gonna
I think they
soak
should
up extra
appreciate
hardware.
honesty. Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And so the reason why I
Hey.
mention it is they sent us last year a bigger, same kind of style, a bigger,
Mm-hmm.
insulated, cup. But that one I use for my daily. I fill it up with 2 cups of coffee and I just sip that throughout the whole day.
That's
And
awesome.
I got this afternoon. I was like, this is nice. It's like a little portable, fits right nicely in my car. So yeah, no, for sure, really, really nice.
Look at
Yeah,
this little
yeah, yeah,
fun
yeah.
tablet stand thingy. That's really
Oh
pretty.
man, I
That's I mean that's really nice made out of
no,
metal.
no,
Again,
everything very
I
nicely.
am I am like I adore this kind of a presentation. It it drives me a little bit crazy that
Yeah.
someone can't buy this kit. The back to office TCL Stylus kit. And you put it all together. It's so what is the phone going to sell for? 250
There's a 250. So, and from what I understand, it's 250
or
something around T-Mobile
260?
and 260 something on Metro. So
Right, 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 right.
it's sub 300 in the 250 to 280
I
range,
mean, put all
and
this
I'm sure
together
they'll
for
have deals and stuff.
like a $350 bundle, and someone
Mhm.
would walk out of a T-Mobile store just like jamming. Not just
Yeah.
like, hey, I got a good deal on an inexpensive phone. Like, this was nice.
Well, true, but I feel like a package like this probably can only be bought directly from TCL because I don't think T-Mobile would carry.
Oh, I mean, yeah, fair,
Yeah,
fair,
yeah,
fair,
you know
fair,
what I
fair.
mean.
But you know
Like
what
the
I
whole
mean,
branding
like
cross. Yeah, yeah. Because what we got
totally,
was
totally.
yeah. So I was like, wait, I was like, where's my phone? So what we got was basically an unbranded, box. But the reality is the phone we have is I think it's a T-Mobile variant. Um,
I'm such a bag whore. Like
I
that when
have a
TCL
collection.
sends a backpack, and like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, I actually
No,
have
dude.
I keep a little storage unit, like a little half unit storage unit, just for
Yeah.
extra equipment and stuff. About a third of it is like old
Old
backpacks and
backpacks.
bags and stuff, and I just
I
can't bear
still
to part
love.
with them because they're all real nice.
Dude, I still love using my OnePlus backpack, the one I got a couple like 3 or 4 years ago.
Marie
So,
stole the last one from me, the one that had that like top close magnetic
yeah, yeah, yeah,
latch
yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah. The
She
latching,
was
the
like,
the
"I just
rest.
need something for this one thing. I'm just gonna be out for the day," and I never got it back.
Baller. I love it.
Yeah,
I
she just
love
kept it.
it. She walks in. She's like, "Yeah, can I borrow?" And then you never see it again. You might as well just kiss it goodbye. Yeah.
So, if you want the full tech reviewer review, hold on, we can do this right now. There is a
Well,
charger in the box, so
there is
that
a
is
charger in the
exciting.
box. There's wire in
But
the
now
box.
just imagine that this is like slow panning footage. It has it comes in lunar black and has 128 gigabits of storage with 4 gigabits of RAM and support for SD cards, and it has a
Oh, nice.
Dimensity 700, and it has a 6.8-inch LCD full HD resolution, and it's worth it or not worth it depending on what you need. This is the full review. Smash that bell icon and subscribe and like and share.
Well, thank you
See,
very much for the
that's all you
support,
need to
guys. That was our full review. Hold on, let me see.
do. Oh, that is a really nice click action on the stylus.
I like it. I know. I really like it.
That is
It's
clean.
responsive. The
I mean,
display
so
is good.
it's not just a slide out mechanical. You know what? I think I still have my stylo. Hold on.
I think your stylo may work. By the way, I think that was the one thing I didn't get a chance to play around, because what happened is I got the box, I opened it up, shot a few clips, and then
Hmm.
Omar had swimming, so we had to go. I had to go wait for him for the swimming class. So I shot a whole bunch of clips of the phone when I was doing my reel in the car, and
Yeah.
I edited, and then we just got the colors of 90-second reel review. I like that. Josh kicking it with the jokes. 90-second reel review. That's how it's going to be from now on. Wait, one take that. No one. Josh, you put that on a live show, and there's like a whole of 26 people other than I'm just kidding.
Wait, no one take it. It's my idea.
Yeah, nobody take that. I was like, ooh,
So yeah,
look at that.
here's my stylo.
Wait, hold on a second. I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Using a stylo pen on a stylus, would that just implode or create a black hole or something? Are we gonna?
I
Are
would
we?
hope so. Just create like an ultra dense, like all matter will be sucked
So
into
everybody,
it.
make sure to call your family, your friends, and say
So
goodbye. Say you love them. We're
so
about to do it.
this was not an active pen.
No, it is. Yeah, and I don't think this one is either. This is
So
because I asked that
immediately,
specifically.
just in giving you my honest first impressions here, the thing I didn't like about the stylo,
Mhm.
the LG stylo on this last generation, was just like how round and fiddly the little
Oh,
pen was.
yeah.
I
This
mean,
one's
because
this has a
I feel
flat
like I'm
surface.
holding an old Windows Mobile or Palm Pilot
It's
stylus.
exactly what I felt when I saw that. The little tip, the little
The
knobbin on the
little
top, that
nibby,
little
yeah,
hook on the top. It totally reminded me of the Windows Mobile, the HTC
it's like
styled, yeah,
a metal stick
with a
that's like a
plastic, with a yeah.
it's like an eyelash thicker than a toothpick, and you're like, I've got to like poke at my screen with this ultra skinny thing here. So the fact that this is a little bit more like a Note 5, I just threw it on the ground.
I was
That's what I
about to
think
say
about that.
we're
Take
doing
that, gravity.
drop testing the pencil right
Drop test
now.
approved. It
Okay,
fell from
great.
like 2.5 feet onto really nasty shag carpet. It's
Did
totally
you just say
fine.
sharp? Sharp shag
Yeah,
carpet? No, just
I
kidding.
know.
It's like sharp edges
It
on that
is,
carpet.
and I got this from a Lowe's. It's like the grossest carpet.
Oh,
But the fact that it's an actual flat pen,
yeah.
immediately I like this better. But it does look like it is just a capacitive
I'm
fine
thinking
point
the bamboo
stylus,
pen
not
should also
pressure
work
sensitive.
just as may work just as
Let's
well.
see.
The
I'll
only
start
thing
getting
that
it
you
set up.
do,
I'll see if I can get it in.
yeah, no. So one of the things that you do need to do, if you don't eject the pen, I think it doesn't activate the pen input mode. That you style
Hmm.
the UI that comes up with it doesn't show up. But
Same thing
um,
with the stylo. So the
mhm.
stylo actually has. So I was so frustrated. The Stylo 6 has the same digitizer as the V60,
Oh,
but
okay.
it doesn't. It
Support
doesn't.
Wacom.
Well, no. It does. It
Hmm.
supports the same pen,
Hmm.
but none of the software will kick on until you remove the capacitive
Oh,
stylus
I see what you mean. Yeah.
from the silo. So
Kind of
you're
like a
like,
Samsung.
I could have a fine point pen that actually does kind of support pressure sensitivity in a couple apps, but
Hmm.
none of the actual phone software knows what to do with that. And you're like, the hardware is there. You could have like included some of the V60 tricks in
Absolutely.
the Stylo 6, and it would have been great. Anyway,
Well,
that's
especially now, like realistically, if it's just a software limitation, why not include
yeah.
it? Why not make why not make the last update for that thing like a banging update? Like make it into a V60 Lite
Actually, I mean,
experience.
like, again, considering I got mine, I think mine's the Boost. I don't even know if it has branding. It doesn't. I don't think the Boost ever got any updates. Um,
Oh yeah, the carrier versions are always a little bit challenging, especially.
yeah, not for the $140 I paid for it with shipping. I'm not too sad that it never got anything.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. And while you're doing your thing, I just want to say first and
Hmm.
foremost, welcome back to the best of our week. I know we kind of dive straight in with Juan doing the Bluetooth, distance test that we
Doing
always do,
Shagimo,
walk and
out of
talk.
shape and out of
Uh,
breath.
that's for back in the 80s. No, so it's episode 72 of the best of our week. We are on this beautiful June 2nd, 2022. We are officially in June, kicking it 6222. And of course, Juan is trying to do, hey, NVIDIA broadcast catches it. Look at that. It actually, you know what?
Can't get it to
It's
focus though.
refreshing to see a headphone jack, SD card, pen input, stereo speakers, all under 300 bucks. It's
Right.
like, it's nice. And don't get me wrong, the
Oh,
Dimensity
but it's
700 is,
got but it's got an LCD instead of an OLED.
oh, that makes it
Oh,
trash. Yeah. Well,
He
it was
said
nice. They tried.
trash.
They tried. Maybe next year we'll be able to get it
Get
for
like
less
Gen
monies, and
3. Wait for Gen 3 or Gen 4.
Gen 1's not even in the
Never
store,
buy
but yeah.
anything.
No, I want to say seriously though. When I first found out about it, I was very pleased, and I was also very even more pleased when I got the device, because I know the embargo was this morning, so there's like information going on. I made my own little really bad attempt of photoshopping the some of the stock images they gave us,
Oh.
and and then put it T-Kid likes a phone with a stylus, and as if I wrote that on the screen. But
If
that
I
was
had
yeah.
thought ahead, it's not too far off from like an LG Stylo.
Oh
Like it's
wow,
just a little bit shorter.
the
So I
stylo
could have
was even
held this up
bigger.
as the prop and then like
Yeah, and
photoshopped in.
Photoshop the pen. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I just, for me, I mean, so I'll say this very frankly. My son's already eyeing this one. He's like, "Are you gonna get to keep this one?" I said,
Really?
"Well, they didn't ask for it back yet. They just sent it to me." So I was like, "Yeah, yeah." So yeah, we maybe my son would be using his version of a
Interesting.
pen input, his large size format phone. So yeah,
I
I
feel
mean, I like
like
it.
that's the mark of a dad doing it right. You got your kid and he's like, "Well, wait a minute. That phone has a stylus on it. Hmm.
It would be
Maybe
a
I just
kick-ass way to.
need to play around with one of those things." Hmm.
I love how the guy shops
I
before I'm even done. I'm like,
I
I
just
looked at him. I
start.
said, I just got it out of the box, bud. Can I even try it first? It'll be one
Or
of
you
those
could just
episodes.
give it to me.
Uh,
I don't
you
know
know,
why I've turned Omar into this like.
yeah, I know. Sticky finger concept going on. Yeah, as his self-proclaimed PR agent, I do want to say,
Right, right,
take a
right, right.
step
Fair.
back, my friend. Yeah, there's a running thing going on between Juan and I every time we talk, and we talk about some of the stuff when it comes to Omar. Yeah, he's designated himself as the PR agent for Omar Bay Technologies or something. I
Gotta
don't know
look
what I'm
out,
calling.
man. I think he definitely needs you got to look out for the kids. Make sure you're also paying out your plus tens for your agents and managers, all that good stuff.
I love it.
So
He's sliding in with his commit. Okay, well, on that note, the show is going broke in about 5, 4, 3. No,
3, 2, and we're
1.
pulled.
Well, yes, exactly. That's how we lose it. I do want to say one thing. I'm very happy. At least this week, I got a chance to put out the power station
Ah.
video.
I was so
I've
glad you got your hands on one of those, dude.
dude, it is so
It's a
nice.
monster battery.
It is it's okay. So first and foremost, I reviewed something similar to this 3 or 4 years ago, right? And that
Hmm.
that that beast still lasts. I've used it many times, and this puts that one to shame. And even that, you know what I mean? Like that one's already kind of like strong enough. The one thing I was really happy about the fact is I could run my refrigerator for about 40 hours off of it on a full charge because it's
Yeah.
like an electric a high efficiency one, so it doesn't draw as much
Hmm.
power as some of the older units. Because my older one I've tested was like an older AC
Yeah.
refrigerator, so it was so nice. And then we were camping with it. He had his friends over like a couple of weekends ago, so I put in a fan. I put the Toughbook 40 in there, and they were watching Goonies on it. I used
Nice.
it, like just classic stuff, and then because it has a DVD-ROM. I don't have laptops that have DVD-ROMs anymore, so it's crazy, like old school tech.
Right.
Um, and then we charged up their phones, their tablet, and then we inflated the bed. We had like it was a whole thing. There was tons of fun. So I did a whole bunch of footage before they got in. And it was a really good, it was a good collaboration. I hopefully you guys got a chance to check it out. I pushed that out. I think it was like yesterday, the day before. And then hopefully tomorrow the XM5's video will be going live on both the English and Arabic channel. This week has been funky for me. It's been weird. And that Monday on a holiday, by the way, totally threw me off.
I mean, I didn't really get a holiday. I worked straight through. I did a game stream just to, sort of reduce some of my workload, and it was still like, all right, I'm done playing Vampire Survivors. Better start cutting a whole ton of video. Let's do it.
I tried. For me, it was we had some family over. We did a little bit of barbecuing with us, so that's why you saw me jumping in and out of the stream, because I was watching you, but I was also cooking some food on the barbecue. So it was kind of hard either pay attention to you or get my wife pissed at me for not cooking or burning everything, or burning the house. But it was a good weekend. It threw me off.
So much more responsive than the Stylus 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that was a big focus for them.
Not even close.
Out of the box, TCL said specifically they wanted to focus on the responsiveness. And when you keep in mind, and I know a lot of people are going to start talking, well, this is not as responsive as a Samsung. You have to understand what you're looking at. This is a budget smartphone that features a stylus input with actually reasonably low latency.
Michael kind of has it. It's like you can get the whole phone for almost the same price as a slim pen from Microsoft.
But I also like the fact that if you take the pen out with the screen off, it turns on to the screen off memo thing. So nice. they definitely I love how they borrowed those pages from the other companies, because this is the right thing to do. And
there's like no button on this, so there definitely isn't anything smart for like additional commands or anything.
I was hoping the only thing is once you remove it, you get this new menu that pops up in front of you, and then I think that's pretty much it. And for me, I moved it from the left to the right. I love the My Script calculator too. That was such a cool little. You jog down your algebraic formulas and it'll fix it. E-signature, it's built in. You can sign for documents, split screen, AR doodles, area screen recorder, magnifier, view handwritten notes. You can do handwritten notes, of course. Screenshot doodle I was talking about, write a note, and then of course Nebo for TCL. So if they've done an adaptation of the Nebo app on here, if you've used Nebo before. Because I've seen it on other devices as well. So app and yeah, I like that. It's definitely a lot of fun. I didn't get a chance to take it out or put it through its paces, but power button fingerprint sensor actually looks like it's working really good.
On my thumbprint, and it's not bad. It's pretty good.
No. I seriously, build quality. I think my son has great taste. I just need to pick up a good rugged case before I hand this guy over. Because I don't.
For sure.
Yours didn't come with a case, right? Or it didn't come with an. Yeah. So I'll pick up a case. I'll pick up maybe a case and also maybe a screen protector. I don't think. Yeah, there's no screen protector. Typically, with most devices that we get that are carrier versions, they don't come with screen protectors. And I think that's crazy. Microsoft, I love that. But I want to say thanks. Well, first of all, welcome to Michael Peppertech. Farhan's with us as usual. Darren, Gans is in there. JGJ's in there. Of course, Aditya, the Mr. Cumberbatch of our show. Everybody kicking it with us. Josh, all the way from the Philippines. Sam, Tech Lovin' Mama. I hope everybody say hi. Holla at your boy. Tech Null's in there as well. Oh man, everybody kicking it with us here, of course, on this beautiful, Thursday. I want to say, I don't know why in my mind I was going to say Tuesday, but it is Thursday night. And speaking of, so the TCL obviously was a late breaking, Juan reaching his new level of how far can his chair roll? No. I got to put up
a shag carpet, and I've got crappy wheels on this chair. I'm sorry. Please continue.
No. I'm trolling. But yeah, and even Davin Davis is kicking it with us on this beautiful day, and we're it's literally the TCL is late breaking. It just showed up, and we're getting our hands.
It's dropping. It's basically the free phone for signing on a new contract at T-Mobile.
Yeah, absolutely.
How ridiculous are the free phones now? I mean, you've been playing with some Realmes, and we've both been playing with Redmis and Pocos.
Yep.
I really dig
the plethora of Redmis.
Well, but anytime I also get to throw in with like an Infinix or a phone like that, some really great brands, and like the amount of phone you get for sub $300 is absolutely stunning.
Oh, I
feel like the whole average conversation is now easily satisfied and you like a sub 400 without breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
On a brand new phone.
No, for sure. And I want to take it out. I want to, but hopefully maybe this weekend we can take some pictures with it and get things kind of going. Um, one thing I do want to mention, which just to kind of bring up a little bit of a leveling history. One of my Samsung phones that I have in the display side here decided to, I don't know, can Sony show the balloon? This popped up.
What?
So
Which
nice
one
little.
was that?
So remember I told you about the Note 7? I told you it was kind of starting to pop up and kind of open up on the old Note 7. So yeah, now it's officially all doesn't close
Just
anymore.
went for it.
Yeah,
Ooh.
so I went ahead and disassembled it was a simple back then, the back panels were very easy. Unscrewed those, took out the battery. Yeah, that phone will not boot up again. So
no official Wacom stylus support on the TCL. It's just the capacitive stick.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Not that bad. I mean, hey, you know what? Honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's still...
I hate to break it to you. I know that just fundamentally, destroyed your opinion.
I know. It you know what? They have so many other things that are going to be able to regain some of those good comments and all of that. And just to answer Michael, yeah, I know totally with you. It's illegal in so many places, but it's perfectly due to this, and this is probably what caused most of the other problems going on. I need that address from you, by the way, Juan, because I need to go next week and drop off a whole bunch. I have a few.
Yeah, for sure.
Honor, surprisingly, Samsung and Honor batteries have been doing this for me. No other phone company, no other brand, like Huawei phones don't do that for some reason. But like I've had a few, two phones from Honor, and now
Now
Samsung.
making me all nervous. I think I only have the View 10 and View 20, so I'll have to go.
It wasn't those. It was on the.
Please tell me not
so
the Honor 8.
Honor put out the Note. I don't know if you remember the Note. So they came out with a Note series.
Those, yeah.
So there's the Note 10, and then there's the Note 8. So the Note 8 used to be my my workhorse. I used to use it as a display because it was like such a large, almost 7-inch display.
Yeah.
So I had that connected to when I used to use the GH5, and then that was perfect. And then at one point I noticed that the battery, the back started to pop a little bit. So I took it off, and I noticed it's like this swell up. So I obviously disconnected it, put it up, but I haven't found a place to reasonably not safely dispose of them. The battery seemed to basically have reached this, and it's just over time, and it doesn't seem like it's, I mean, it's still bendable. It's not fully plump, I guess, if there's a better way of saying it. So for the Honor ones, I left them out, and then I just need to find time to go drop those off. So when you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, I forgot to talk to you about it.
I'll look it up because it's not too far from you. I can't remember what street it's on, but yeah, I'll find you the address for it.
Yeah. So Davin, I thought about that, and I was thinking maybe I could pick up a Note 7 FE battery, because I think those are the ones that Samsung replaced, and it should still be because the FE is the exact same phone. You know that, right? They did a battery swap. And I don't know what the capacity on this one, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, if I get an FE, I should be able to put it in. But the big problem with it, the last time I was able to boot it up, Verizon had blocked usage of the phone. Yeah. So the version that I have, even if you boot it up, it tells you this phone is not operational, and poof, shuts it down. So it's really more of a...
Did you end up with the Note 7 that I had?
I want to say it's the one that we kind of let's be very vague about it, but yeah, no, I think it's the exact same.
As I was leaving my 10-euro pocket now, there was a transfer of materials, and one of the editors at XDA, who did videos for the XDA channel, was tasked with picking up, what was it? It was like an 80-pound box of old phones and tablets.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah,
that's how much stuff they just dumped on me when I joined the team.
Yeah, and it was a weird, like like I got it, and then they're like, "Well, can you go through it and then do a whole bunch?" Like there was so much stuff in there.
No.
Like it's definitely a anybody that's looking to build up a collection or like an older collection. Like there was some Flexes and LG Flex. There was some Samsungs and stuff like that, but I think those they already took all of those. But
the one that made me sad, I don't know if they picked it off of you, but I remember I had to like give up. Someone wanted the Axon 7 back, so I had to go and buy another Axon 7 because I needed that in my phone museum. It's just way too nice of a phone.
No, absolutely.
All of the Samsungs went back, and that also kind of made me a little mad because the Galaxy S7s and the Galaxy S8 actually came from my contacts at AT&T.
Oh,
They
okay.
were
Yeah, those
technically
there
still
wasn't any of
Pocket
those
Now
left.
phones,
Hmm.
but the only reason Pocket Now was covering them because Samsung had blacklisted Pocket Now.
Oh,
I
because of the
spent my
whole
entire tenure at Pocket Now kissing the Samsung ring just to get back on their approved list of acceptable outlets for media coverage and review devices. And instead, like for the 2 years that I was there, we were scrambling to get like hands-on or early access, or maybe this phone fell off the back of a truck somewhere, until Samsung finally like deigned us as being acceptable for coverage again, and then I left.
because that's how you do it,
um,
man. You fix things and you move
so
on.
so that one made me also a little sad too, that other people sort of claimed those when
Yeah.
really they should have come back to me. But I'm not that bitter. I'm only a little bit.
All I say is this: let bygones be bygones. It was definitely an amazing collection of devices.
Yeah.
I did the best that I could to kind of work with them. It did took me a while for them to kind of figure out what they wanted and what they didn't. And then whatever was left, we ended up basically just donating into kind of like recycling or donating. And so, the reality, yeah, the Axon is definitely like a piece. And the problem, so the Note 7, the only reason I kept it is because I can't ship it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not.
No, it was hugely problematic because Samsung wouldn't even send us a return kit.
Yeah, and that's what happened. I think what happened is they did what they needed to do in the first wave. The second wave, they kind of did it, but they didn't really follow through with everybody. And then everybody that had it, they just got left with it.
And
So I
and
could,
and when we say first wave, I mean it must have been like Marquez.
yes.
Marquez got a special return box, and like
Well,
Pocket Now was like,
XD
"Hey, enjoy your incendiary device. We're
at
not
the
gonna
time,
take it
XDA
back."
did get a return box. I remember Brandon making a video about it. Exactly
Of
how the
course, you
box, the
guys
packaging, the
did.
cover. So he got a box for that, and that was returned, and I think that was the XDA one because I never got that one. XDA at the time only I think gave it to the website, and the ones I had because I pre-ordered it first, I got the first wave, returned that one, and then it came back again when they said supposedly they fixed it, and I picked up a second one, and then that one had to go back again because that was just kind of like that's what I meant with the first second wave, at least from my end. But
Yeah.
when they asked for everything like
We
that, and they're like, the only Samsung I couldn't ship back was this, and it was because of this
yeah.
little guy, and now
We
it's in
we
pieces.
we didn't count. We didn't even get like the cursory reply of like, well, we'll definitely make sure that we can make some sort of recycling. No, they were just like, hey, Juan, keep this bomb in your house, and you're like, cool, I guess.
And Verizon disabled it.
Thanks.
First, Verizon sent out an update. I think that disabled the battery to only charge up to 80%, and then after that, they just totally borked it. So the phone doesn't
Yeah,
work. But if
for
you
sure.
want, like, like I said, it's for me now. I feel a little bit better. I can get rid of this, keep the actual phone, and not have to worry about it because the phone
And
that
short
part
story
is
incredibly long. Now you have a TCL that's probably as powerful as that Note 7 was. So
oh, yeah. No, Dimensity, MediaTek has been doing really good this year, and I'm really
the
excited to see
700
what
is
they're going
is
to be.
solid.
It's pretty decent. We have the new 1000 series as well. We also have the
Mm.
8100. I got a chance to
Oh
play
yeah.
with that. That's a really good 870 competitor right there. Um, and then hopefully we'll see at some point what they're going to do with the 9000. Will it show up in the US at some point under some brand of sorts? I know
It's been tricky. It
Realme's
looks like
using a lot of
Qualcomm.
theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It really feels like there's some kind of agreement of that tier of experience staying in China for now, and hopefully within the next year or so that we'll start seeing some stuff. But I'm excited to see that there are devices like that. Like when you see devices, coming out with MediaTek on T-Mobile, on Verizon, not Verizon, but like Metro by T-Mobile. So, and at some point, hopefully, we'll see an unlocked version if people want to pick one up. I think that'll be nice. Farhan says he even lists Sony smartphone as the number one smartphone of and fails to as. Oh, okay. I think he's talking about somebody else. I don't know
Yeah,
what.
I think he was mentioning like another reviewer talking about phones like Sony's, and then like basically making a whole video just to say, but another Samsung is better. You should buy a different,
They should start the video
better
with
phone.
saying, "Hi, not sponsored by Samsung, but please buy Samsung, and let's go ahead and talk about this other phone
Right.
and why you should buy
See,
Samsung."
but that's just it. It's like once you start getting into that vibe,
Mhm.
there's a certain tone, and once you start picking up on that tone, it's all about I know I'm making this video for a predominantly Samsung owning audience. And so I'm not reviewing this Sony. I'm telling this Samsung owning audience why they made the right choice not buying the Sony. So it's not a review, it's an anti-review.
Yeah, no, I'm
It's
with you.
yeah. Anyway, I can soapbox. Just in case you were wondering, there is no pressure sensitivity.
Okay.
So it is just a fine point
Remind me, is
capacitive
the
stylus.
palm rejection pretty good for you? Are you noticing any issues with the palm when you're
So
writing?
when I'm drawing, ooh, that's good. It's actually really good. Excuse me. So when you have your thumb on the screen, it prevents the pen from doing anything. And
Yeah.
when you put your pen down first, it prevents any input from fingers. So it's smart enough to delineate between those input methods.
Yeah.
But that magnet feels real nice.
That little snap at the last thing, because I was putting it in, and it was like, wait a minute, is this sucking it in? I'm like, what the heck? And like, and oop, and then it sups, and it's in. It's good, and I love the fact that it also still features stereo speakers, which is really nice,
Yeah.
even at that price
No,
point. Stereo speakers.
this is much better built than I was kind of expecting from the press release that they put
Yeah.
out about the phone. Now I just got to like dig into the cameras because, oh, but the cameras aren't good enough, and you should buy a different phone for better
It
cameras.
my thing would be at this point is realistically appreciate what you're getting with this device. Also, you're probably going to be living in the main sensor anyways, so enjoy the main functionalities you get out of it, and just seriously just enjoy. And this also features a very large display for content consumption, watching movies, TCL technology that we get with
You know
all their
what's going to
devices.
be kind of I might have to do like a Stylo 6 upgrade video. Hey, so you
This,
can't buy a new stylo, maybe you should consider this instead.
yeah.
I mean, literally, I'm sitting here taking photos of my keyboard. I'm not like testing this in any serious way. I don't think LG got enough credit where the headphone jack and the camera on the Stylo 6 were surprisingly good, but the camera UI performance was kind of tragic. So if you lined up your shot and you hit the shutter, you would get a very good photo out of
Mm-hmm.
that phone. But opening the camera app, switching camera modes, like all of that was just very not super responsive. I'm not sure about the camera output, but at least this TCL is like the camera is decently responsive, swiping
Mm-hmm.
through menus, just pulling up different modes. Like it feels like basically any other phone. So it seems usable where
Where it needs to
and
be
the double tap to
functional.
the power button works exactly the way you think it should. So I'm happy.
Exactly, which is what it should be. But
My
the other
biggest
thing
pet
that
peeve on Vivo is like they
double
don't do the
double
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 tap for the
pressing.
power button.
We need to have that. I think those are a lot of nice shortcuts. And I saw, speaking of Vivo, when you say Vivo, I saw you drop something from another brand, maybe related to Vivo earlier this week.
Yeah,
Like I didn't know you'd be
just gonna
something
pull
new.
this guy up here. It's nice
Oh, look at
iridescent
that.
sheen.
You know what? So not to mention when we talk about part spinning, this is the same finish they had on the Oppo did on their Reno, the Reno 7.
Oh, I totally buy it.
I love the
Because
colors.
it's this, and I'm gonna be trying to send this to LaShawn soon. Not the Pro Plus, but
Hmm.
he's never used any Vivo, and so I had so much fun just like recalling the X70 Pro.
Yeah.
Also had that sort of metallic iridescent sheen,
It's
and
color
then the Neo
shifting depending on
6.
the light. Yeah.
Yeah,
The Neo
it's
6
so
definitely has
pretty.
a more of a purplish hue on it. Really, really good. So I no, I like it. So you got a chance to play with it. I know you did a
Yes.
first experience there. Let me see
Yeah,
here.
I always get really anxious. I mean, like, this is an international phone. It hasn't gotten any software updates yet. Where I mean, like when I started playing with the X80 Pro, I really wasn't putting out any content until after a minor patch had come out. And now
Hmm.
for Video 3, one of the reasons why I'm reshooting a few of the samples from my test setup is we on the X80 Pro we just got another like 400 meg update which lists
Oh,
camera
okay.
improvements. So I'm like going back through some of my shots and just seeing like, is this better? Do I want to show the new shot or the old shot?
Because
But I
your
haven't gotten
camera
anything like
improvements
that
was
yet.
posted this week, right? The new camera
Yes.
improvements. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the upgrades, that video went out this week, and then the next video is like a head to head with my Panasonic. I'm doing something similar to what I did with the X70. I didn't really feel comfortable calling the Neo 6 a review. I've been using it for almost 2 weeks, not quite 2 weeks,
Hmm.
when I put that video together, and it's such a little screamer. It's a Snapdragon 870, 12 gigs of RAM,
Wow.
256 gigs of storage, and that's the top tier. I believe there's also an 8 gig 128 version,
Hmm.
but the full spec version is ballpark $450 phone.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I
Very nice.
mean,
Very.
it's right in sort of middle Poco territory.
Hmm.
It
Yeah. Yeah.
like this it's just crazy to me. Oh, and so 64 megapixel sensor on the back.
Prime sensor.
That's
Yep.
the same combo of SoC and camera that we had on the V60.
Hmm.
And it's pretty close in just your average kind of like auto HDR. It has pro modes. You can kick into pro video. Like, it's not bad. It's shocking to me
Hmm.
how the 870 just continues. The 870 being a plus plus version of the 865. How that SoC continues to compete at the top tier of phones launched today, but now we can get it for stupid cheap.
Yeah.
And there's a whole army of these phones where you don't have to really make the compromise like, do I want to get a 2-year-old phone with an 865, or do I want to get a newer mid-ranger that's going to
Yeah.
be cheaper? Like, well, no, they're actually going to be kind of the same phone. Like,
No,
there's
I'm
so
glad
much
to
on
see
this that's
we're
right
seeing more
there.
and more companies still use the 870, which is really refreshing. The people are still valuing the fact that the 870 is a powerful enough of a processor that even a few
Yeah,
years later still gives you 5G, still gives you the performance that people need, and saves them money. And the fact that they're still able to buy these chipsets from Qualcomm tells you that
yeah,
even Qualcomm realizes the value of the 870. They didn't refresh it. They didn't try to do 70 Pro plus plus, left, you know what I mean? But the reality
yeah.
is, we
And
need to
I
see
wouldn't
more.
be shocked if the 870 were just like a better binned version of the 865. You know, like the
More than likely.
865 plus, they touted all of these improvements and speeds, and you're like, okay, yeah. I mean, the Note 20 Ultra did perform a few tasks a little bit faster,
Hmm.
but it was still neck and neck with the 865. So I could totally believe this is just mature manufacturing. The fabrication process is down pat. They're making
Yep.
money on this SoC still,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and it continues. It continues to be the most even-handed performer that you can currently buy. I
But
mean, with the
it's
exception
living
of
more.
maybe an 8100,
Well,
I
so the 8100, I think, would be definitely a very good competitor. It's a little bit. I mean,
it's a
Geekbench is
die
not
shrink.
necessarily. Yeah, yeah, no, no,
It's a
absolutely,
die shrink on the 865.
and I think this is literally what it is. Where we see, I think the MediaTek 8100 would definitely be probably a better selection, a better choice. Records 4K, gives the same capabilities, and I feel like it's just we need it in more devices. The only reason I was able to get my hands on it, it was because of the Naruto phone that I got from the Realme
Right.
GT3. It was a Chinese edition of the phone, not the international model. So because it's a Chinese only in China, MediaTek is the processor they use, and therefore I was able to get my hands on it. So that was a
But
pure luck
but
kind of.
that's kind of, again, drilling down on that though, this core configuration has proven a consistent tier of performance, which
Yeah,
is absolutely exceptional.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
oh, it's pretty good still, I guess. Even an 855, I would still say is like kind of overkill for
Hmm.
most people's daily tasks. An 870 is still rocking people's socks. Like, there is so little software that even makes an 870 blink. And so while I can demonstrate an 888 or an 8 Gen 1 is a higher tier of performance than an 865,
Yeah.
nothing out there really seems to deliver the same kind of consistent performance if you're doing one task for a longer period of time. The battery performance is fantastic. I
Hmm.
haven't been able to see. This is another reason why I don't like calling some of my Vivo videos reviews.
Okay.
Is I have limited band support for LTE,
Hmm.
and this is a 5G capable phone. So what am I contributing to the conversation if I can't really use it as a daily driver device? Like it's always got to be a companion
Yeah.
phone. It's my backup second phone whenever I leave the house. So when I say like under some of my controlled testing, I was very impressed with the battery life. I don't know if that goes to poop if the 5G isn't well
Is
optimized. You know what I
enabled.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Or if
I
you're,
can't
yeah.
I can't comment on that. So for me, it's always a more it's a broader discussion on like phone philosophy. It's usually not the same kind of nuts and bolts. Let me test this and compare it because I can't really use it in the way that the people who would really buy this phone would probably use it. But the entire way, I mean, just like absolutely charmed. And it arrives at a price point where you have to make a few compromises for some of the fun camera tech,
Hmm.
but I mean, like comparing it to the X70 Pro.
Okay.
The
The
X70
Pro, not the
Pro,
Pro Plus.
even
Yeah.
not the Pro Plus, the
Hmm.
X70 Pro, the other one I've lost it on my desk. I don't know. Here it is. So the X70 Pro,
Hmm.
demonstrably better cameras. I mean, just
Okay.
all around, this thing is a photography champ.
Hmm.
That it's only beaten by the Pro Plus
Pro
of
Plus,
last
which,
year.
yeah, exactly.
If I try to shop the X70 Pro online and it's almost a year old now, it's still like a $650,
Probably.
$700 phone.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you're talking about like a 40 or 50% price increase over the Neo 6, and the Neo 6 is actually a better compute power performer.
Hmm.
Like that is a brilliant way to kind of trade some blows, but then also you're arriving at such a competitive price,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
in its own stable of a year old quasi flagship. The Neo 6 is demonstrating, I think, a remarkable price performance ratio. It's
Price to
really tough
performance
to
ratio.
beat.
No, no, absolutely. Sub 500 is crazy when you start looking at some of the benefits you get there. And the biggest thing for me that I've been, like I said, you said it yourself really nicely. I mean, with this X70 Pro Plus, I loved having that phone, but I couldn't use it as the main driver for me. And I used it. I ended up using it off of
That was
internet,
me.
off of Wi-Fi most of the time.
Yeah.
But it was, obviously it did hang on Wi-Fi. It hung with me the whole day with a lot of video editing and just getting everything kind of working from it. So it was a definite it's a definite workhorse. And more, I mean, at least since the beginning of this year, I've been editing more things on device. I've been using more on device editing and rendering, and reels and shorts are part of my, well, not shorts. I've actually stopped making shorts because I don't feel like they make any difference, or at least
They
they don't achieve what
anything
they're
that just
supposed to.
no, I mean like YouTube basically just kills your channel anytime you stray from what they were familiar with.
Yeah, or whatever they feel like. So yeah, no, that's why I stopped doing shorts since after CES. I stopped that, and then after and around that time also we separated the podcast because I wanted to leave the channel for
Yeah.
what it's known for. It's the 10 to 20 minute videos that I typically produce, and those are the type of videos that I think for the most part kind of do well. Yeah, so long story short, not to make fun of it, but I love doing editing on device. Um,
Yeah.
but relying on cameras like the way the X70 Pro Plus were for B-roll, even for my videos, that was where it really outshined, and it gave me like seriously DSLR quality video on the
And
go.
I'm glad you're kind of revisiting that with the X70 Pro Plus.
Yeah.
Because the X70 Pro is pretty close. I mean, the only thing you lose is that gorgeous depth of field from the main camera sensor,
Hmm.
and not by a ton, because it is one of those really nice 1/1.5 inch main
Okay.
camera sensors. They're more common today, but when the
Hmm.
X70 Pro came out, like that was still one of the biggest camera sensors you could get in a phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that makes me happy about the way that you kind of present that, we're talking very specifically about expensive phones.
Yes,
we're,
that's
we're
true.
saying this is an expensive device, but it directly contributed to a kind of work or productivity that generates content for our channels.
Yes.
And I see nothing average consumer about that. I would not put an X80 Pro in someone's hands who had basic iPhone needs for their camera tech. I
Yeah.
just I
No.
just need it to just work, and I just need it to just push shutter button. the X80 Pro is not for that person. I'm not going to
It's
make
way
that
way overkill.
recommendation.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like Lamborghini to
So
go
if
to the
your
grocery
needs
store.
aren't, yeah, so if your needs aren't X80 Pro or X70 Pro Plus, then picking up a Neo 6 is nearly indistinguishable from a phone that costs more than twice what the Neo 6 is. Like, you genuinely will not see any difference, except you will get better battery life out of the Neo 6 than you will an X80 Pro. And so if I'm really listening to someone and they're telling me like their needs are a little bit more modest,
Hmm.
you've got a screamer phone priced in the ballpark of a Pixel 4a 5G with a tier above for compute power and remarkably good battery life with stupid fast charging.
Yep.
80-watt charger in the box. That's nuts. Again, we're not playing this game of like a Galaxy A53.
Yeah, yeah.
This is real super fast charging that just destroys anything Samsung has to offer on their most expensive phones, and they put the fastest charger in the box for $450. And
Yep.
that's full MSRP, and I have to believe there will be sales for people who really live in the regions where this thing ships, and I doubt very much everyone's gonna buy full
Full
MSRP.
MSRP. And but the thing that kills me right now is what really, like, we get a chance to we get an opportunity, we have an opportunity to see some of the other options available in the market that would obliterate or even be a very good head-to-head competitor to, say, a Samsung or other company offerings in the US, being Motorola, being OnePlus, or even Pixel.
Yeah,
But the reality at the end of the day, because of the lack of availability and because of the way our system is set up in the US, most people don't see what we have. And companies like Samsung are become complacent to a certain point where they're not going to basically push the technology. I mean, we're paying almost $2,000 for a phone, and we're getting a triple 12 megapixel camera sensor with a 4 megapixel under display camera, and that's being accepted as a standard. But then when you see Vivo with the X Fold kind of putting out there, a main 50 megapixel sensor, 45 megapixel ultra wide. I mean, we're talking flagship actual experiences on a phone that sells for less than the Fold, but then does so much more. You know what I
yeah,
mean? This is the competition that we need back in the market that, for the lack of a better term, Huawei was providing to till
yeah.
till unfortunately they stopped competing in that market. And they were really on the cusp of, blowing them. I'm gonna say blowing, but they're basically literally changing the whole landscape of the mobile experience
Sure.
in the US that year at CES, and all things kind of changed from there. But yeah, no, man, I,
But
I want
I
more of these things. I want more people to be educated and know what options they have.
well, and this is what I love is I feel like the market is speaking way louder than reviewers are acknowledging. And I
Hmm.
know people who have listened to my podcast have heard me soapbox about that before, but way more people, like 10 to 1, buy Galaxy A series than Galaxy S. It's
Hmm.
the tech reviewers who still say things like average consumers on $1,000 phones.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like Ganzi Technerd is saying the Vivo X80
yeah.
Pro is $1,000 in India, and I believe it. The phone is brilliantly constructed. The phone
Yep.
is one of the best performers that I've played with of the year. It doesn't always win outright performance showdowns, but
Hmm.
it usually doesn't end my tests being uncomfortably hot to the touch. The
Okay.
cameras are fantastic. I mean, this is photography capabilities that I don't believe exist on any other mainstream production phone. Maybe a Sharp Aquos is going to give
Oh,
this a run for its money,
yep.
and I can't get that out of Japan
Japan. I was gonna say,
like
yeah,
at
that's
all.
that's another thing. So where Vivo lives and breathes a lot of the Indian market and a lot of more there, you get Sharp. Basically, yeah, the Sharp Aquos kind of
Yeah,
just lives in
we live
Japan
in
and just
Japan. We
and
don't
we
leave.
stay in it.
But
Yeah.
But when it's things like, really good stereo speakers, I don't think they're the best. I think gaming
No.
phones would have it beat. But then you've
Oh,
got the
purpose-built phones, obviously. Yeah.
incredibly, enormously large fingerprint sensor. And you're like, that is an
Mm.
expensive component. There's nothing about this phone that goes light. There's nothing about this phone that goes cheap. The two-tone material on the cameras, I believe the center disc is ceramic, so
Oh,
that you
wow.
don't get that blown out camera sensor that the Galaxy S20s had
Hmm.
problems with. The glass would just sort of shatter
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
whole backplate. I mean, like, this phone is everything about this phone is the best that Vivo can make.
Hmm.
And it's only priced out at around the ballpark price of a Galaxy S22 Plus.
It
I mean,
is.
spec for spec for spec for spec. This thing curb stomps the S22 Plus. It's not close at all.
I'm very happy that you got a chance to get a chance to play with it, and I think iQOO is definitely bring it. So basically, for me, iQOO is like the A series of Oppo, as opposed to where you get the
Hmm.
Fine series of Oppo, and it's kind of like not necessarily the Nord. I feel like it's better than Nord when it comes to OnePlus because it
Yeah,
definitely
but a little bit
performs.
more expensive. I mean, Nord's
Yeah, yeah.
technically you can shave some cash off, and it's also why I say like there's like a sharp tick up
Hmm.
on Poco. Like there are a
Yeah, yeah.
bunch of Poco and Redmis that are very very inexpensive, very accessible, and then there's like the F3. The
Yeah.
F3 is not a cheap phone, but it's not an expensive phone, and I kind of feel like the Neo 6 fits that bill. This is not cheap. $450 out of
No, no.
pocket at time
Yeah,
of
yeah.
purchase. This is a chunk of money. This is
Hmm.
not cheap, but it's not painfully expensive.
It's an easy
So,
step up to get a better product if you want to go that high,
oh yeah.
to that next level. And you're right. I mean, it jumps into mid range and or maybe basically more like budget, but not like cheap phones. Essentially, it's still within that reach,
It's still
but you're
accessible, yeah.
yeah, that's what I was what I was shooting for. And hopefully,
I
once you're done with it, we'll see. Maybe we'll try to do a
Cuz
a little bit of
I
oh
know
yes, yeah,
iQOO is supposed to be billed as some kind of lower tier brand, but like the
but
iQOO 9 Pro, like nothing about this phone is a compromise.
I gotta
At
love it.
around $900. I think the starting price on this was like $899. I want
Hmm.
to say something.
It's right.
Someone please correct me. But this would be a significantly more extravagant purchase for many of the markets that Vivo and iQOO play in. The Neo 6 is not cheap. Someone would have to save up for that. Buying it
Hmm.
outright would be a very premium purchase for a lot of people in these
Yep.
regions, but it's not going to hurt like a 9 Pro. And if you don't need the sort of more extravagant capabilities and the compute power of the 9 Pro, the Neo 6 is right on its heels. I mean, like it's like 90% of the phone for 50% of the price. And those are the kinds of like slogans that we love to spout out with flagship killers. And I feel
Yep.
like the Neo 6 actually does kind of live up to that. It's so charming. It's such a cute little phone. It shows off. I mean, like that iridescent quality on the X70 Pro
Hmm.
actually kind of got a few looks from people. And again, mostly in that what kind of case is on your Galaxy phone? Um, but like it kind of
It's a
catches someone's
Vivo
eye.
case that changes the phone. I
But
like.
that kind of like it's at least interesting. It's something a little fresh, a little different.
Yeah, yeah.
I really can't say enough nice things about the Neo 6, with the caveat that obviously I haven't been using it on the proper regional 5G to know that whether or not it's a good performer there. It's been
Mhm.
a great performer. I mean, just not even like for its price, it's good. No,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
all around great performer, bar none, price regardless. And the price just makes it really sweet to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. And just for reference, I'm still trying to find a good deal on an X70 Pro Plus somewhere. Swappa doesn't have any more on sale. There was like one.
Mm-hmm.
AliExpress keeps showing me some different options. I may pull the trigger on. I saw one for what's it called, 850 or 820 euros. For
Okay.
that's the 8 to 56, not the 12 to
Although
56
I'm
model.
so again, we have this expectation that phones drop in value fast because of Samsung.
Oh yeah.
If you're already climbing up to like 800 euro, you might want to just try and import an X80.
So the
Like you're
X80
not
keeps going up.
saving so
It's
much
coming up
there.
for what's it called? What is it? It was like $1,000, €1,000. It's the cheapest I was
Okay.
able to find. I'm
That's fair. I
trying to
mean,
find different.
200 euro is enough to
It's two.
look
Yeah,
at.
it's like
Yeah.
240, $250. That's going to be difference for us. So for me, I personally like the X70 Pro Plus, and I loved how it worked so much
Yeah,
that I feel like it would be I would be more comfortable with what it offered, and it's
sure.
just like going back to a familiar device. So, and then I don't think the 256 will do that much for me, because it's not like, again, I'm using it for gaming. It's really a productivity piece of camera. Like, as I'm
Yeah.
buying a camera, that's what I'm looking at it.
It's
I'm not
so
looking at it as a
good.
phone. Yeah, it is one of
Oh,
those.
so like I'll spoil part of the reveal in part 3 of my phone versus camera showdown.
Oh yeah,
Half of
is
my
that next week
B-roll.
though? Is that going to be? Is there?
It should be. I'm hoping it's gonna be Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.
Nice.
So
Okay.
we're on track. I've got the main timeline edited. I've just got to get notes on some of the samples and some of the transitions that we're using. I haven't picked music yet. I hate putting music on my videos. But the part of the reveal is any shot that the Vivo is not in, the Vivo is doing the B-roll for that video. And I'm in a tiny little office. You would think like a phone camera wouldn't really be giving you that great of a depth of field. And like these shots look really good. Like, it's not the creamiest, softest bokeh you've ever seen, but it's like the subject is clearly standing out from the background. There is a
Hmm.
great separation between subject and background. It's such a joy to shoot on these cameras. And again, I kind of want to touch on this. I don't know if you caught this article that Farhan is mentioning.
Oh,
This is
okay.
from Petapixel. Oh, Digital Camera World published an article about Sony saying that the smartphone camera will be better than the DSLR in a few years' time. I mean, I caught the write up of the same press conference from
Yeah, yeah.
Petapixel, and I just thought it was an interesting commentary to come from Sony, as Sony is one of the driving forces in mirrorless photography right now. I mean, I would say they're the company to beat in the current
Hmm.
market of mirrorless photography. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts were on them
I
saying that phones were probably going to be beating out that phone still photography image quality was going to best DSLRs by 2024.
So I think by 20, so being that we are in 2022, so this is the reality. So what we're talking about is in 2 years, they're predicting that still photography from a smartphone, and it will be basically beating some DSLRs. Based on the fact that I have a friend that has shown me a few examples of how well a mobile photography solution can compete with a DSLR, I'm going to say that's where my push off point is going to be. Um, I think that statement is going to be partially true to a certain point, but not necessarily all. So the statement wasn't saying all DSLRs. It's going to beat some DSLRs. The Where we are today is at a position in time where most people don't choose to buy handheld cameras. The handheld camera experience is pretty much dead because smartphones have gotten so good. We no
Yeah.
longer need to buy a small Canon, or the RX 100 Mark 7 was the last one because Sony couldn't make any more of them because people weren't buying them. People
Yeah.
preferred using their smartphones, or obviously more
It didn't
professional.
matter that you had an incredible lens and great image processing and all of the ergonomics that came with the great standalone camera. It was a smaller sensor camera, and you know what? My phone is pretty close.
And I think
And
that's
I
what happened. It was that experience exactly. It was so close that it was not value added for the consumer to spend the extra money on a separate dedicated piece of hardware. And I'm
Mhm.
going to be myself, even as an example. I used to buy those cameras. I've gone on trips
Oh
with my
yeah.
wife, and I used to take pictures with them. And yeah, at some point that cold medium kind of disappeared. So can a smartphone camera experience beat a DSLR? I think to a certain point it can be very competitive, and it will be for average, we're not going to say average users, but I'm saying avid photographers, but not pro
Yeah.
photographers. Yeah, it's definitely going to be more than enough. I think Sony's moving us in the right direction in the way of basically
Oh
allowing
yeah.
us to have a triple camera configuration with quad configuration as far as focal lengths, but seamless transition. That introduction of the seamless transition that we saw with the Mark IV this
Mhm.
year, that's a big step up. This is why I felt like it didn't really look at it on paper like the
Well,
4 was that
TK,
much better.
Sony's not putting in their best image sensors. It's only 12 megapixels. Needs to be
Yeah, I
more.
know. They
Or
need to do
I just
better.
don't
They
get
need
it.
to do better.
And how do you even say it? Is it like Xperia 1 IV? Is that how
Ay, ay,
you
ay.
say it? How can
No, no, no,
anyone
no.
figure out how you even say the phone?
It's like Cinco de
Say the
Mayo.
phone,
Ay, ay,
TK.
ay. Oh, sorry.
Ivy!
Ay. No, no, it is. When you start, don't get me wrong. I will admit to this. At some point in the beginning, I was a little confused as to the structure, but then once you truly understand,
I'll say it for the Xperia 1 Mark IV, I was flat out disappointed that they hadn't changed the surface area of the main camera sensor until I saw what they did to the companion sensors.
it's that, yeah. So that what got me with it. And this is why we're like, on paper, when you see it, you would think, well, it's not really that. No, it has that much of a difference from what you get from a Mark III. They've truly completed the circle when it comes down to the lenses that you're using. They're no longer doing that. I'm not going to call it a fallacy, but essentially is that thing that most people know is what they mean, but nobody really talks about it. That only the main sensor gets all the bells and whistles. Only the main sensor gets to do all the flashy photography. And if you jump into the ultra wide or you jump into the telephoto, you're suddenly talking like different land, color science, a whole bunch of things. And Sony really kind of solidified that experience where they even fixed the front-facing camera. They brought in the sensor from the back to the front.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I think Sony's on the right path. I think the Mach 5 and the Mach 6, I don't think Sony will have a problem going with Mach 5. I think we're probably going to go 5 because I think it's only China that has a problem with the 5 number. I think we only, no, wait, no, that's the 4. Take that back. Forget about it. Anyways, so the 5 and the 6.
I think we've already crossed that bridge.
We've crossed that bridge. Like, yeah, TK, did you not review the 4? No, no, I haven't reviewed it. I've played with it, but I no longer have it. So long story, incredibly, really long. Yeah, no, I think Sony could definitely lead us down that road. I don't think a lot of, like, all smartphones are going to be able to do that for us in the next couple of years. I think we're still going to have a variety of experiences, but the higher level tier will start pushing. Vivo is doing the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure Oppo and OnePlus will start learning from that experience.
For sure.
Realme will jump on board. Xiaomi will be on there. The Ultra should be any day now.
Scoops in the audience. Scoop, was it Gigi's stream on Tuesday where was it Barry was saying like just kill off the OnePlus Pro and bring us the Vivos and just put a OnePlus sticker on the box, but like leave OnePlus for the Nord, make that the Nord brand for inexpensive phones, and then just like if this phone arrived with a OnePlus label on it, would anyone even notice here in the United States that anything was different? So my feelings on the article. When we're listening to Sony again, this is making news in photography circles because it's Sony, not a random YouTuber who loves to shoot smartphone camera footage. This is a representative of one of the top producers in this market saying the still photography, smartphones are going to beat the still photography of standalone cameras in 2024. Which they're responsible for selling, a significant number of smartphone camera sensors. So
they're literally like if there's a margin of how many Sony sensors are on the market. Yeah,
Samsung is competing. I mean, the GN1 is incredible. I really hope I can play with something that has the IMX 787, that new pixel binning sensor that Sony is going to be putting out as kind of its competitor to the GN1. That to me is like, as soon as I can see a phone that has that, I really want to lock that because I think that'll be a fun showdown.
Yeah.
But when Sony says something like that, you sort of have an expectation that they are looking at their financials. They're looking at where their income is coming from. Sony is not responsible for selling a ton of phones, but they are responsible for a huge number of phone camera sensors on other phones. So if you had asked me 5 years ago, my response, I would have laughed at that article. I would have been like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, we're totally on track to beat standalone camera performance. And then last year I picked up the X70 Pro Plus, and then the Pixel 6 Pro came.
Yeah.
And then the Sony Pro I arrived. And then the Note 22 showed up. And we've got more and more phones coming out. So of all of those sensors, all of their usable surface area sensor size is closing in on 16 millimeter film. You can shoot a feature film on 16 mil. Like, that's a really good balance of cost efficient filmmaking and image quality. The Wrestler was shot 16. I think
Mhm.
most of Black Swan was shot 16. I mean, it's gonna look good.
Yeah.
That's now in the back of a phone. This main sensor on this phone has 16 millimeter film size. Like, that's nuts.
It
The
is.
optical quality is closing in on micro four thirds fast lenses. Like my
Yep.
12 millimeter f2.8 is exactly the same bokeh and field of view as what's on the back of this Vivo. That's $1,000 lens for my $1,000 camera. My
It's
$1,000 phone can keep up with $2,500 worth of camera gear.
yeah. No.
So
Exactly.
so when I hear that statement, I now in 2 years, I don't think it's an exceptional idea to think that another 2 generations of improved optics,
Mhm.
improved camera sensors, and all of these new sort of AI processing mechanisms like the V1 Plus,
Mhm.
what Tensor is able to do on a Pixel,
Yep.
even what Samsung I feel struggles with, but still demonstrates that there is a computational advantage to
Mhm.
having a mini supercomputer bolted onto the back of a camera.
Yeah.
I feel we're in really good territory to start chipping away at the dominance of mirrorless cameras. Right now, again, we have a lopsided view of this because of tech reviewers trying to shoot the shallowest depth of field. So they can always turn to a much more expensive standalone camera. That's the
Yeah.
camera you need for the real photography and to get your work done. You wouldn't use a phone for that. But right now, I mean, like, camera sales are in free fall. Canon, Canon cameras, their representative recently came out in some sort of press release, or I think it was an interview. It wasn't a press release. They expect over the next 2 years that the sum total of camera sales are going to be roughly between 5 to 10 million units a year.
5 to
All of the cameras sold in a year, Canon believes might only be 5 million,
what?
maybe,
Oh,
maybe a little
why
more.
did they say? Why are they thinking the number is going to be so low?
Well, no, that's just it. We're watching the standalone camera market plummet.
Yeah.
So we peaked. Again, I believe again I'm so frustrated with the way that techies talk about tech because we
Mhm.
don't we have a feeling because we see all this stuff. Same
Mhm.
thing with like high-end desktop. I used to get into arguments with people at Newegg about this kind of stuff all the time. I can sit here and show you the coolest Core i9 with the top of the line Nvidia, but what do you get when you look at the Steam rankings on computer components? I mean, what? Like the GTX 1060 is still like one of the top 3 most popular GPUs playing games today.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can show you a $10,000 gaming rig. Maybe a couple thousand people really own that rig, right? So our
Yep.
numbers are totally skewed by the popularity of the most expensive gear that we can watch videos on. The camera sales numbers peaked, I believe, in 2012.
Mhm.
Someone might need to correct me on that. But when the camera market totally peaked, highest number, the most digital cameras sold, I think we're talking about 120 million cameras in total. And that's including all of the point and shoot cameras that were being built at that time because we were only into 2 years of the iPhone.
Mhm.
And from 2012 to like 2016, it's basically just like a sharp drop down in camera sales. And I want to say when we get to like 2018 and 2019, we're looking at maybe 15 to 20 million total
Yeah.
cameras being sold across Panasonic, Olympus, which is now OM,
Mhm.
Canon, Nikon, and every other little boutique camera manufacturer. Sony is obviously in that list too.
Of course.
But like Canon's estimating that over the next 2 or 3 years, it might be 5 million units between Panasonic, Olympus, Canon, Nikon, Sony. That's where we might be headed. So if you're not going
Makes
to make
perfect.
money on that
Yeah.
kind of tech, You're not going to keep developing. You're not going to pour the computational resources into that camera gear, because all you're doing is satisfying the market of established photographers who don't shoot that way. So again, I love to bring this stuff up because, like, if people have argued, and I've gotten into arguments even on my Discord, like, well, you need a real camera to learn about the exposure triangle. You need the shutter speed and the ISO and the aperture. And like, when I shot film, I didn't have control over the ISO. I loaded it with ASA 400. I was shooting ASA 400 that day. Like,
Yep.
I couldn't just rip out that film like, oh, I need, ISO 100 or ISO 800. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
no. I've got 24 exposures here, and this film is about $1 a shot. So I'm gonna finish out the roll. I'm not gonna mess around.
You're not gonna. Yeah, you can't.
So-
You can't pull out the camera anyway. You have the roll anyways. You
So
pull it out,
it-
you burn
and-
the rest.
Anyone who picks up their phone and learns how to get really good shots out of a smartphone camera is going to be capable of taking those same lessons and composition and skill and manipulation of light to a standalone camera, and they'll get amazing shots.
Yeah.
If someone is a terrible smartphone photographer, putting a proper camera in their hands, they're going to end up with worse shots than if they had shot from a phone, because this is not going to hold your hand with anything.
Nope.
You want to do HDR out of one of these, you better set up a tripod and learn how to bracket, because it's not really going to give you the same punchy extended dynamic range features that literally just come with one button press from your
On a
smartphone.
phone. Exactly.
So to me, like, this article is it's reinforcing something that I felt for a while, especially since the days of the Lumias, where we started getting larger image sensors on our phones. And I think it's another area where techies are so far behind, because the perception is mirrorless cameras are being used by all of these popular YouTubers. People must really be using these great standalone cameras to do all this stuff with. Except the sales have been plummeting, and look at everyone that you know who owns a nicer camera. Do they carry it with them ever?
No, most of the time, nope. It's sitting in their studio.
They're leaving them at home, and they're shooting these photos with
and-
phones.
and
So
the
it's
reality,
already
even as-
happened.
Yeah, no. At CES, I had an A7 IV. I mean, I had a brand new A7 IV from Sony, and I really struggled finding. I mean, I was testing it, so there were some circumstances where I really needed it when I was in more of a controlled environment, like when we were at the TCL booth, not booth, to the suite. I had it on a tripod. I was setting up my stuff. I did a whole bunch of my shots, and it works beautifully. But then when I was gunning it, when I stopped by Razer, when I stopped by the Samsung booth, I shot some B-roll, but the reels, the content that I was shooting for, even B-roll, a good number of that, I shot on the X70 Pro Plus. Yeah, no, straight on the phone, because once you start, when you know you can rely on the tool and you know how the tool is going to perform without having to second guess it. This is where I feel like to me, where I understand where the DSLR kind of works, because I understand how the quality and how the pictures are going to come out, because you get used to it over time. The X70 Pro Plus was such a, I don't know why I set the bar very low for it. To me, because I've never used a Vivo, but then it came and it just delivered, and it just kept going. And then I got Android 12, and it kept going and going and going. So there was, and there's a few other phones I can say that even do very similarly, like the Huawei, the P50 Pro. That was a solid performer. And for me, seriously, I used a lot of content off of that. The challenges with it is obviously connectivity and transfer and posting and so on. But for me, it was like very few phones can perform that way. And Vivo's just been hitting, like, for me, for 2021, I would say the Vivo X70 Pro Plus was hands down the phone. But I got it so late in the year that I didn't realize it until 2022, because not because of you, obviously. I'm just saying,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like the circumstances, the star
For sure.
alignment, all of that good stuff.
But you can totally
yeah.
understand why me, being the phone camera nerd who wrote a book on phone photography, was the
You
only
wrote a book?
person
You wrote a book? Is it on Amazon?
on Salah's video to front Vivo at the end of 2021.
No,
I feel so many techies missed something so special at the end of last year on the X70 Pro Plus.
and I really think, there's a lot of
it's
people that
so
did not.
good.
And had I had access to it earlier, I really feel like that would have probably unthroned my my
Kinda-
my
it
Find X3 Pro.
nudges you in a way
Yeah.
that, like, Again, like I feel very comfortable talking about the X70 Pro Plus in the same reverent tone that I would have talked about a Pro I, which
Yeah.
cost what, like that phone launched at $1,800.
$1,800 is cheaper than the original Pro, but it was definitely
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm with you. It is one of those experiences where you kind of like, wow, this is what I can do. And not only that, to top that off with all the Zeiss modes that you have, all the different options you have to be able to shoot out of this, and also great microphone setup. And it, like you said, had it had the right bands for the market that we were in,
Yeah.
and had the opportunity to test it out throughout
It would
CES,
own
it
my
would have
SIM
been
card.
oh, absolutely, because I would have loved to be
Yeah.
on mobile all the time. I ended up having to base. I mean, luckily, just say this: CES was not short of any way we're being able to jump on a Wi-Fi. But the experience of being on mobile, be able to basically at CES in Vegas, jumping from one hotel to another, going from one place to another, you want to be able to have that reliable connection. And quite a few times where, because I ran out of my mobile data package, I was waiting like as I was going from one place to another
Right.
to get to the next place to connect to a Wi-Fi to upload the content. Because I posted almost all of my stuff. My CES coverage was real, was shorts and reels. So yeah, no, I'm with
So
you.
I mean, like I've been doing this I've been doing this in earnest, like really making an effort not to travel with a nicer camera and a laptop. But I've been doing this since the V30.
Yeah, no, I
And
remember.
the V30 was a challenge. That slightly smaller image sensor, I believe it was a 1/2.9, or
Okay.
maybe it might have been a 1/3 inch sensor. Like it might have been a little guy. But the V30 was a challenge. You always had to have some additional light. So I came up with that first funky rig that I had on a Gorilla Pod with like a plate
Luma
that I could
Cube or
also
something.
mount a
Oh, okay.
Luma Cube. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could also mount my audio gear and all that stuff too. I couldn't really do it on a gimbal. Oh, it hasn't been that long. It's been 4 years, and now I've got phones that can shoot pretty cinematically. I mean, in what I would consider to be at least a photojournalist or documentarian style of photography.
Yeah.
And like maybe I don't even need to bring the Gorilla Pod. Like maybe I'm just going handheld for most of this.
You're good enough to hand. Low light photography on the X70 Pro Plus handheld was actually pretty good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even with the telephoto lens, let's just say that I pushed the level I was able to cover with it at the Samsung keynote.
Michael Peppertech has just reminded me because I've already forgotten this because it's hilarious because I brought up the Axon 7 earlier in this podcast. The ZTE Nubia Z40 Pro has the IMX
787 for 599, my friend. Are you out of your
now
mind?
I'm gonna have to see what they've got. Oh, and Michael Peppertech also pulled up the numbers. So in 2010, peak camera sales 121.5 million. That is not as much as we think it is.
Well, still though, when you're talking about projection of down to 5, that's like a oh man.
So, but we're thinking cameras. So I think a
That's
lot
true.
of us are thinking like cameras. That 121 million was at the peak of point and shoot camera sales too. So it's every camera body.
So DSLRs, SLRs, and point and shoot handheld.
No,
like
just
Canons.
digital, not
Oh,
film backs.
oh, okay. Well, yeah.
So we're
So
just talking
DSLRs, not, yeah.
121 digital cameras, but like
the
you know
digital.
the little Nikon Z series and the little Canon power shots, and like those Ricos and everything 121 million. So all of us sitting here fronting like, well, if you want to take real photos, you've got to have the real cameras. Like, yeah, that's going to be about 5 to 10 million camera bodies a year. When you break that up by manufacturer, those are numbers that we wouldn't even blink at for phones. Like we would call those abject failure numbers for a phone company selling like 800,000 units.
It's like why? Yeah, why did you show up? No, I know, I'm with you. And we also need to keep in mind that there, Sony and some of these other companies are also in the lens and the accessories market that are also still going to be producing new lenses, new lens elements, and so on. That
So
works, yeah.
if you look at the value of sales though, I don't believe the lens and accessory market has ever broken. Michael Peppertech will probably be able to pull this up way faster than I can.
In 2.5, yeah,
I
give him about 5 seconds. He'll be like, bang, bang.
I want to say like at the peak of camera body sales, the value of that market wasn't as impressive as the units sold because so many of those cameras were just one and done little fixed lens, little zoom point and shoot cameras, which now have significantly smaller image sensors than what you can find on a phone. I want to say it's something really low, like for selling so many camera bodies, lenses only made up something like 20 million so like you couldn't even attach one lens per DSL sale. If someone bought a Canon Rebel and it had the kit lens with it, then that person was done. So many of those people never went on to buy a second lens for those cameras.
At the Canon Rebel, I feel like it is because most people are probably buying it because it kind of has some of the functionalities of a higher end model, but then is still kind of gives you better imagery than what you typically would have gotten from your smartphone. But buying a second lens outside of the kit lens wouldn't have been a challenge for them because they start looking at the prices of lenses and they started like, oh wait, hold on, the lens is more expensive than the whole thing I just bought, especially if they're starting to get some of the better ones.
Well, this just seems like a scam.
No. So for me, originally, like at the end of 2021, I was really driven for. I wanted to sell my A7S III and I wanted to get an A7 IV. That was my whole goal for it, right? And I did sell the camera. And then when it came down to basically, buying the A7 IV, I loved the A7 IV and what it did for me. But I ended up basically, literally, I'm not gonna lie, I ended up buying a whole bunch of lenses for my existing camera system, and I did end up picking up a 6400 for my top-down camera, which works so much better than. Don't get me wrong, the ZV-E10 is great, but just from a sense of what the A series did for Sony with a brand new Sigma is way better. And then I upgraded my camera here on the main sensor to the f1.4 Sigma as well. Sigma's been killing it. Oh my god, Sigma. F1.4 baby, butter, smooth as butter.
The only one that I'm thinking of stepping away from the Sigma is Olympus sells. And again, I'm purposely looking at this for Micro Four Thirds because we need all the help we can get. I think Olympus makes I want to say it's a 20 millimeter f1.2, and I think I need it. And it's $1,000.
Oh yeah, the moment you said f1.2, that's like 1,000 plus, even with any of the other options. I stuck to 2.8 on the ASIC on my Micro Four Thirds purely because of just the short focal length that I have. I'm not using it for face. But yeah, no, I'm with you. F1.2 would have been my dream. So Sony makes an f1.2 for the camera for the full frame. That was like $1,800
if I get that Ollie 20 mil f1.2, it's gonna look like a 40 millimeter f2.4 on a full frame camera. That's why Micro Four Thirds, we need a little extra help. We've got way better reach.
Oh yeah,
like if I put a 400 millimeter lens on a Panasonic, that's like a telescope on a Sony. It's an 800 millimeter equivalent field of view. Like if your heartbeat holding the camera body is causing judder because it's such a long equivalent focal length. But what we have an issue is in getting that super shallow depth of field. So, like on my 16 f1.4, that's very much like you picking up roughly a 35 f2.8. Like that's not an extravagant lens. We have to spend so much more on getting the good glass to get the faster actual aperture.
Exactly.
So anyway, when we sorry, we can keep going down the rabbit hole of cameras and stuff. But just kind of loosely tying this back to the announcement that Sony made. And I can't even remember who at Sony made this prediction. I find it very plausible now in a way that a couple of years ago I would have scoffed at more derisively. And I think it's not necessarily just the pure optics and camera handling and what professionals are going to use a camera for. I think in a very true and practical sense, what I can get out of a Samsung in expert raw mode or whatever they're calling it, what I can get from a Vivo using the super raw functionality substantially helps close the gap on pixel sizes that are maybe 17% smaller than the pixels on a GH6.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the pixel pitch we're talking about. We're not talking about a radical difference in size at the pixel level. We're just talking about a little computational assistance that helps you close the gap on a cinema camera that
Yeah.
runs thousands of dollars before you put a lens on it. So
Yeah.
I'm very bullish on this idea. If we can get, so the next generation of camera sensors after this are going to be 1/1.28, so
Oh
just a
wow.
teeny
Yeah, that's tough.
tiny bit bigger than the GN1. And then if we can get more sensors like what was in the Xiaomi 11 Ultra, because that was
Yeah. Yeah.
1/1.12,
Oh
and
yeah.
then it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to a true 1-inch sensor on a phone, and it hopefully will come to the United States and not be stuck in Japan. And it's on. It's on. I mean, like you're now in true cinema grade territory.
Yeah.
You've got great optics on the back of a phone. It's crazy pants at that
This is
point.
why I really like when they said 2 years, and like the way with what we have right now. Absolutely, there's no question. There's a few things, like I said, that I need an extra DSLR camera and really use it for now. But a good, I would say 95% of my B-roll and almost all my videos are shot on mobile devices,
Yeah.
and I know exactly what I'm able to shoot with and what to do and what to get the actual image that I want. And it's exciting to see what we have and what can be done. And definitely Sony, the involvement of the Alpha team in Sony's photography experience on their smartphone makes so much sense right now. Like when you say
Big
these things
time.
like that, the whole time I'm thinking that makes perfect sense why the Alpha team is in charge of the camera system on the
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
Xperia.
For
Because
sure.
like the Alpha's like, hey, I don't want my job to be discontinued in a couple of years.
And
No, I'm just kidding.
and in the way that Google is trying to show people what Android software should look like,
Yeah.
Sony is, I think, leading the market on what a total top to bottom camera focused experience should look like.
And then
And whether or not average consumers ever buy an Xperia 1, the
yeah.
Xperia 1 rings like a shot across so many other companies that are looking at ways to improve
Mm-hmm.
their smartphone capabilities, and it's a major issue right now. Like, it's maybe one of my least favorite aspects of the X80 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 4 sensors on the back, and those sensors were chosen for very specific photography purposes,
Yes.
and they absolutely do not all match for video.
That would have been
And
something to
so
keep.
an Xperia is definitely not nearly as exciting for the main sensor, but all 3 sensors match far closer for both photography and video
And video
capabilities.
and color science as well. You can definitely see the
Oh,
work you've been
exactly.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing that we've been wanting for some time. Like I said, you need to understand what the device can and can't do, and don't read the papers, don't read the specs on a sheet and make your assumption, as some people may do that right out of the box because that's what they feel like will get the headlines. But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
It really
Every time
is.
Sony puts a phone out, I feel so bad every time I return it. I feel so I feel like so close to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep it. I'm not gonna return it. Like, I'll let the Sony police come and knock on my door. But I'm a big fan, and for rightfully so. I think we all appreciate what Sony's mission is and where they're going. And I hope a lot more companies will continue following them and realizing that, they're going to miss the boat if they don't start keeping up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So Michael Peppertech, I just threw it up there and I pulled it back down, but you
Yeah.
looked it up. 2012 was 98.5 million
Wow.
and down to 62.8 million in 2013. So immediately the popularity of, what is that, iPhone 4 was already decimating the standalone camera sales. 2019, 15.2 million. So everyone out there who's like, oh, you need a real camera. No. Average consumers are making high-level stuff, way oversharing their photos on social media and making their TikToks on phones.
Yeah.
We're not building a new generation of content creators on 15 million camera sales.
Oh, that last one, and he's saying it's in 2012, but that was 16.2 million in lenses. It wasn't all.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's even worse than what I was thinking. I was gonna say it was maybe like 20 to 25. In 2012, with 98.5 million digital cameras sold, only 16 million lenses were attached. There is no camera manufacturer on the planet who is looking at that downward trend and thinking, yeah, our business model is totally cool. Zeiss partnering with phones. Leica partnering with
So
phones. I'm
Zeiss is
shocked that Canon and Nikon
are not
haven't
doing
directly started partnering with,
partnering with.
not maybe not phones, but some kind of consumer electronics, consumer facing industry.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking of Zeiss, and I know we just mentioned the Ultra as well just a few seconds ago. So Xiaomi teased a collaboration with Zeiss, but not only that,
Yeah.
they also teased potentially what the next device that's going to be powered by the A Plus Gen 1 will be coming out. And in one of their tease pictures, they had a finger holding a phone. Sorry for claiming it, and holding like as if they're about to push a trigger. So I'm really anticipating some amazing things from Xiaomi when it comes down to the 12 Ultra, because I think we're due. We're about that time where we're due. It's a little bit later than it's a little over a year, but they're touting some really like some new phenomenal performances from what they're going to push out. So I'm hoping to see
okay.
that.
So I was just looking this up. Leica and Panasonic are going to
Mhm.
be working together on Panasonic's camera business. So that
Mhm.
should be really exciting. But Xiaomi and Leica
Yeah.
are working together. So not Xiaomi and Zeiss. Zeiss.
No, did I say Zeiss?
Yeah, you said Zeiss. So but there
Totally
was
my
someone
mistake.
else too.
Zeiss is with Vivo and Leica. When you were talking about Leica before
But
me
Leica has
collaborating with,
done so because like what is
because
it?
they're done with
Leica.
Huawei. They've
Yeah,
done.
they're out with
Yeah,
Huawei.
that deal is done. So Xiaomi comes in and says, "Oh, hey, buddy, what's up?"
And I know
How you
people
doing?
mock it, but you can't tell me that we didn't see some noticeable camera improvements from OnePlus working with Hasselblad.
Oh, absolutely, especially Gen 2.
So
Not just
like
even the first one. Yeah.
every single one
Even
of
Oppo.
these. Have you seen one of these like boutique high-end camera manufacturers, lens and optics manufacturers, are looking at some way to stay relevant in the minds of even daily driver consumer electronics consumers? Like, it means something that a Zeiss logo is on the back of a Vivo. Like, that's an important co-branding. And Zeiss, I feel, actually stands to benefit from this more than Vivo does. Because something
Yep.
tells me a lot of the tech on board is Vivo tech, and that the lens coatings and some of the image processing are Zeiss. So Zeiss probably stands to garner more mind share from this than the other way around.
On
You know,
Vivo
pro
for sure.
photographers aren't going, oh, you know, I'll pick up that Vivo, but daily driver Vivo customers are going, oh, what's Zeiss? And looking that up.
Why do they keep putting Zeiss on all of these things? Like I'm supposed
That's
to know
weird.
what is that Zeiss?
Well, especially
Zeiss?
on the portrait modes, because they have
Yeah,
Zeiss badges on every single
badges on
portrait mode. I love it.
It's but once you start googling it and you start realizing kind of like what is, because like when Hasselblad kind of jumped in, many people are familiar with Hasselblad. Zeiss maybe a little bit, but Hasselblad is definitely an older brand that it contributes to very much like the photography, like landing on the moon. The first shot of moon walking on the moon was taken with a Hasselblad. I love what they've been doing, but I feel like on OnePlus's devices, they've been more contributing into the color science than the hardware. I think the hardware is still pretty much dictated by what Oppo and OnePlus are doing. But Vivo for sure is definitely moving more towards camera experimentation, because that's been their bread and butter ever since I've known Vivo. It's always been pushing the limits of what your phone can do. Yeah, no, absolutely. Gimbal-like experiences on camera. And okay, great. Something fell again. I have no idea what fell, but something fell.
It's fine. You have an angry ghost in there.
I don't, yeah, but why do they always happen? And I'm worried that it's one of the things. My wall needs to come down, and I think I need to start working on it's not stable. It's not in the best shape. I don't know what it is, but I heard something fall, so hopefully nothing broke. But It's exciting to see what we have, and I think we really can see definitely a lot of
for
good
sure.
improvements. One thing we definitely want to definitely still touch base on. I know we're getting close to our somewhat of our like nice little kind of completion. You got a chance to play with some interesting buds this week again,
Oh
my
yeah,
friend.
so we
Not the
brought them up on the
Vivos.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I only have the first gen Vivo Buds. I haven't gotten the new Vivo Buds ANC Pro 2. I don't know what they're actually called.
Pro 2
Um,
Plus
so we,
X.
we
Yeah,
we talked about these when I first got them, and I'd only kind of taken a quick listen.
the Odysseys.
These
Yeah.
are the Audeze Euclid.
Hmm.
These are in-ear monitors. They are planar magnetic
Yep.
in-ear monitors, 18 millimeter drivers
Wow.
in an ear casing. So these are big chunks. These are
Uh-huh.
big boys. Immediately, like it's impossible not to imagine that someone with smaller ears will probably have a difficult time getting a comfortable fit on
Hmm.
something like this. Whether or not the nozzle is too
Hmm.
fat, it's just the entire body of the earbud is larger.
Oh,
So even
absolutely.
in the kind of cavity, there we go. Even in kind of like the bowl of your ear, someone with
Hmm.
smaller ears might have some issues. Aside from that, this is as close to perfect as I think I could rate an audio product.
Wow.
And that's good because these are $1,300 in-ear monitors. This is about as boutiquey and exotic as you can get before you step up to like electrostatics, like
It does.
$2,500, earbuds. I feel like once you cross over like $400, you're man, that's real boutique.
Yeah, and you're
That's
starting. Yeah,
very
it's becoming very
narrow.
specific. Yeah, specific things you're
Yeah.
looking for at that price point overall. Yeah, no, you're right. You're
So
right.
just like the LCDs that I let you borrow, those
Hmm.
planar magnetic cans, there's just something about the way that planar drivers articulate sound
Hmm.
that just totally does it for me. It's not whether or not it's bassy enough or if you're getting enough color in the mids or if the highs have the right kind of shimmer. It's like this razor wire, immediate, fast response articulation where the buzzing and rasping of distortion is just like electrified. It just tickles my ear and it's
Hmm.
so delightful. I'm gonna be so sad to send these back because I think they're absolutely worth what Audeze is asking for. This is
Yeah, yeah.
an end game audio product. You don't just like wake up one day and think, you know what I need? $1,300
Well,
earbuds. Better go
that's
get some. That's not what you do. These are like after you've been around the block a few times and you know more what you like about a pair of headphones. This is probably going to satisfy a lot of the people out there that have kind of an interest in premium tier and audiophile grade audio.
yeah.
They're just real nice. I can't think of a single situation where I was listening to these and I really honestly felt like, oh, I wish that they had tuned this a little differently, or,
Hmm.
I wish this had rolled off, more aggressively, or, maybe if they had lifted this and maybe done like kind of a peak here, they when I say things like this is as close to perfect as I've heard on a pair of earbuds. I mean, like I've been consistently impressed with every single song I've listened to. I've got a lot of earbud reviews where it's like, hey, I was really jamming on some classical and some jazz, but you know what? These got a little funky with some hip hop and some electronica, or these were really rumbling my skull for some, Run the Jewels and some
Hmm.
Daft Punk, but man, I think they kind of let me down on hard rock. And literally nothing. Nothing felt like, oh, it would have been perfect if this.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Odyssey just completely just crushed everything that I
Yep.
played through them, and it was glorious. So I have a full video. The full video actually went out this afternoon.
Yep.
The public version of the video
There's
went out
over.
this afternoon. $1,300 is a steep ask for a pair of cabled earbuds, but they do come with a Bluetooth neckband. They have a balanced cable and a traditional TRS cable. and they're just built exceptionally well. So I've been a fan of Audeze for a really long time.
Yeah.
I think their end game audio, like the Carbon, mind-blowingly good, but you will pay for what they can deliver. And I think once you've kind of developed a taste for different kinds of headphones and what you like and what you don't like, they're a brand that I just really feel like deserves the kind of accolades and attention that they've been getting on some of these products.
I love it. I love listening to you talking about like the best way I can describe it is ear candy. That's the best way to get it. It's truly it's ear candy. It's
so good.
it's the right pair of buds, not buds, but like in-ear IEMs to be able to
Yeah.
listen to music on, and having a Bluetooth option if you want it, if you need it, but if you don't and your phone can drive it, you could definitely use your smartphone or even a PC or anything that's connected to a nice little maybe USB-C DAC. Like a THX Onyx or a Helm Bolt. But I think the biggest thing that I always appreciate now is that we have a lot of solutions, and we're seeing like I still see day in day out a lot of people still. I mean, and not here necessarily, but like when I was in MWC, I saw a lot of people walking around with wired headphones. That's like the weird thing to see. Like, in Europe, it's different. In the US, not as much. You rarely see it, but like I still see some people every once in a while using wired. But the reality is like, we really need to start caring about what we're using and what we use that technology for. Audio is getting better on Bluetooth, but we still don't get the same experience. And especially for gaming, for me, low latency is always going to be, like a device like this for sub $300 with a headphone jack. I mean, I definitely want to test it out and see how it performs. But I'm still looking to better overall well-rounded device with a good audio solution, and I think that's the biggest thing. So I'm glad. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out yet, it is, as Juan was mentioning, it is available now on the public side, not on the Patreon. But if you haven't checked out his Patreon, please make sure to check out Juan's Patreon. He does a lot of good and higher quality 4K content of some of his videos that he produces on the show, on his channel, of course, and of course just makes it available early sometimes to some of his followers as well. You're able to have much better are the velvet our velvet for the ear. Ronald nailed it.
Ronald doesn't lie.
Nailed it. Close it. Let's go. No.
So
wrap it.
I have to credit Audeze for helping educate, because I was super into, I still love my DT770s. Those are the cans that TK are wearing right now. They're classic. They're super well understood. I've done a ton of recording in those and mixing in those. I had some Seny 599s that I still think are great. Those are great headphones. But Audeze kind of kicked my ass on planars. Yep. And there is a type of articulation and sound reproduction on planars that until you try them, it's just different than what you get on a dynamic driver. And now I'm becoming a total sucker for anything planar. I want to throw another shout out. El Jefe Reviews just recently covered the new Edifier. And the Edifier Bluetooth cans are planar magnetic cans. Nice. And this is becoming a more accessible audio technology. And there's a reason why we're starting to incorporate it in some of these other brands that aren't known as being premium tier audiophile. As we start to reduce the manufacturing costs on planars, you're going to see more of them. Now, they might not all be tuned exactly to the best, audiophile grade tuning, blah, 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 blah. This is a type of sound reproduction you need to play with at some point, because it is aggressive, articulate, it's unique, and it totally spins up like a different idea of what your music can sound like in a way that's not just I turned on the mega bass. Like it's in a way that it's more accurate. You feel like you've been peeling cellophane off of your ears when you fire up a really good pair of planars. So I would highly recommend, check out Jeff's video, because his review on the Edifiers is, Jeff's videos are always fire anyway.
Absolutely.
If you're not subscribed to his channel, shame on you. But moving forward, this is something to definitely keep your eye on. We've had a bunch of smaller players in this market. We've had a bunch of boutique players in this market. I think we're getting ready for taking this more seriously. Audeze got to me first, so I'm always going to have a love for this brand, especially from the Mobius. That gaming headset is ridiculously good. But then for introducing some good, affordable planar magnetic solutions, and now we're pretty good. Like it's not difficult to find a good pair of planars for like $200.
Mhm.
So this is absolutely an exciting area where, you know, I know the bulk of the focus is going to be on true wireless, but if you really care about your ears, you should not ignore the really exciting stuff happening in these more traditional audio consuming solutions, because they're coming and they're phenomenally good.
And there's going to definitely, like you said, there'll be more and more, more and more options using the same. I mean, not necessarily tuned the same way, but using planar magnetics in their solutions as far as options in the market. And I think that's the exciting part. The IEM planar magnetic
Yeah,
ranges.
the
Yeah.
TRN tin audio. I don't know Let's Hauer. I don't know
Hmm.
how you say that brand. But yeah, so Audeze, the iSign, introduced this to me first on a planar earbud. But now we've got about 4 or 5 players that are making planar earbuds. We still have a ways to go
Yeah.
before those catch up. And the OW sound, that neckband that I was getting real lit up about, because like you could get them on sale for like $30.
Hmm.
Again, as kind of a proof of this concept, all my cables are all tangled up on my desk right now. The OW sound neckband is a dual driver.
Hmm.
So it uses a smaller planar magnetic driver for the mids and highs, and then it has a separate dynamic driver for a little low end punch.
Hmm.
And this, at full retail was $250. You can regularly find these on sale for $60.
It was like the
And
40,
this
40
is,
bucks last time off of
yeah,
BAH,
well,
if I'm not
when
mistaken.
I bought them, it was 40 with shipping.
Oh,
Like
even better.
with tax and shipping, they were on sale. On sale, it was two tiers of sale. Now you can find them for 60. I'm sure they're just closing out whatever stock they have left. This is a wholly unique flavor of audio reproduction you have not heard on any kind of dynamic driver earbud. It
Hmm.
is I mean, again, I can see why people would have had issues dropping $250 for this neckband. But while you can get these on fire sale, this is audio quality like you've never heard for $60.
For
Like it's
60 bucks.
so good. They connect over LDAC. They have active noise cancellation. I mean, they've got, I think the neckband can support up to like 8 or 9 hours of playback on a single
Oh, wow.
charge.
Well, yeah, of
Like,
course, yeah, battery capacity is much higher.
yeah, because it's real
Yeah, yeah.
big. This is mind blowing, and so again, this type of audio technology, get familiar with it, and I think your ears will really have a good time with what these things can do.
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing about it is technology, cameras, audio, all of that stuff. I mean, generationally, we are starting to become now into a point where it's becoming very competitive, and there's so many good choices, even at lower price points. You're not necessarily having to buy the $300 to $400. I mean, like for me, I'm going to drop the video hopefully tomorrow for the XM5s on both the English and the Arabic side. They're great pair of buds. I mean, not buds, over
Yeah,
ear, solution from Sony, and definitely is a slight departure
I'm
from
really
what we
looking
used
forward to
to.
that.
So they're so, oh my God. Every time I put them on, it's so much fun, and they're so much lighter. That's crazy how they were able to shave off some weight off of that. Um, so for me, I mean, so that's for me kind of like how I'm going to round up the end of the week. Anything coming up from you for this week, for the rest of this week? Or are you working on something maybe? I mean, obviously, other than the Vivo, we kind of anticipate that hopefully next week. But
Yeah, the
anything
biggie is
exciting
like
coming up?
I'm firing on all cylinders to try and get that Vivo video wrapped up so we can get it out next week. The approvals process takes so much longer because they're
I would
awake when
imagine.
I'm asleep.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
They're getting up now.
the
Actually, they're in the office now. Exactly.
What I'm going to try and spare a little time is I've been way behind on doing some of the audio conversations, and I talked about this last week. I think I've got a better handle on recording some of the samples, so I'm
Hmm.
hoping, if not, I probably won't come out tomorrow, but I'm hoping maybe over the weekend I can get out the Xperia One Mark IV
Oh,
speaker and
good.
headphone testing.
Nice.
And then I also have samples recorded for the two gaming phones on my desk, the Red Magic and the
Oh, the
Poco
F4.
F4.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, yeah.
And the F4 speakers are kind of blowing me away. Like
Quad speakers. That's the one thing that I think most people more. Yeah, the F4 has quad speakers. It's a dual
there
pair of speakers pointing one up, one down in each direction on both
there
sides.
are so many laptops that are destroyed by the Poco F4. And then, just because I was feeling a little cheeky, while I had everything set up for my phones, I recorded some speaker samples off of my Steam Deck.
Oh, nice.
So I think I've got a trio of speaker and headphone tests that I can finally start putting together. The hard part was like from moving from the last Gadget Lab and the Gadget Lab before,
Yeah.
I haven't found a good consistent way to kind of recreate. And I was getting way too up my own rear about like, well, I've got to make sure it matches and sounds the same as my previous speaker tests. And like, if it's a little off, I don't think anyone's going to care as long as it's kind of consistent to what I'm testing in that moment. So I think I've got a better handle on it now. I can kind of get on a more regular track to get those videos out. And I'm hoping that the Sony one will be out sometime over the weekend.
Looking forward to that. Hopefully, yeah, definitely. And I always love getting those little Patreon emails of early access stuff. Always nice.
If those videos didn't savagely die on YouTube, I would love to start making them public. But like, they totally wreck my channel. It's like no one cares to even like share or support them, so they're for the Patreon, and that's one of the reasons why people still check out my Patreon.
Check out the Patreon. So with that being said, so look forward definitely for that for the Xperia Mark IV, the one Mark IV audio test, and of course the Vivo chapter 3. I'm gonna call it the final chapter of the trilogy.
The final chapter.
You kind of did a trilogy. You kind of had to go with that, and just make sure we'll definitely look forward to that. And then of course the HGGQA back again on Monday morning. I will be your host hopefully on Saturday. This time we'll not be bringing any beans or any kind of shape, way, or form.
I'm so glad I didn't do that with you.
Oh my God, that was so. Just a little bit of a sneak peek. So after I was done with the show, I swore I would never touch that bag again. And my wife came over. She's like, "What is that smell?" They have a smell. The bag has a weird smell. And I don't know what came over Omar, but he wanted to try it, and then he got bit by the rotten egg one. He's like, "Whoop," and then he got the same reaction, and that bag had just basically made it into the trash and disappeared.
I'm glad.
My hat's off to Roger for the things he does. And he's an absolute cool dude and everything like that. But yeah, I don't know. He's like, we should do this the spicy beans. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm gonna politely decline.
Yeah, I think there was a few things.
I would maybe be down to try the spicy beans because like to me it's all the rotten flavors I know would just
the rotten. It's oh my God, the rotten egg one tasted so bad. And then the dishwasher soap had a flavor of soap. Dishwasher soap, dishwasher flavor that had soap and a metallic kind of aftertaste to it. And then there's like puke, and then there's oh my God, they I don't know how they got the flavors. This is what I don't understand is how do they get the scent? It's also a scent. Once you bite into it and the aroma kind of comes out and you start smelling it, that's where And on that note, we lost Juan Carlos, and that was the end of the show. So with that being said, I would say we'll see you again, of course, next week for another beautiful episode of the best of our week. It will be episode 73. But till then, we'll see you Saturday on the Android Bay and Monday on the SCGQA. And of course, thank you for everybody kicking it with us. Thanks to Aditya, Gangs, everybody hanging out with us here. Michael Peppertech and all of that, and of course TCL for kicking it out of the park. Come on, Sony's doing good tonight. Sony's liking TCL. I appreciate. I appreciate you, Sony. Thank you. You're doing good. I didn't have to turn on the app or anything. So yeah, take care, be well, stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.
Bam.